I love reading Fallout Equestria. Now, like I said, I was going to come back to start reading this again later on in the day. And here we are, later in the day, back again, more Fallout Equestria, as I promised. Because we had a lot of fun in that last chapter. That was a wild goofing session, I guess. I have no clue. It was hilarious. Very fun. Just gonna give me a second here. Gonna check something. Hello. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. What's shaking? Hello. Hello. Greetings. Apologies. I'm just checking something real quickly. Okay. That should be okay, I think? Okay. I think that is good. Let's see here. Where the heck am I? Factions must go on. Voices. Steel horse. Okay, so we are on the right chapter. No, don't do that. Okay, let's see. Whispers in the darkness. Psst. Pinkie Pie, are you asleep yet? Pinkie Pie. Wait a minute. Rest. Sleep came in fits and starts. I seriously desperately needed rest, but every time I closed my eyes, fevered dreams of wasteland horrors dashed themselves against my mind's eye. I saw ponies loading into a passenger. Sky Bandit stages? What the heck are Sky Bandit stages? Wagon. In my mind, there were families on their way to a day of laughter and fun at the Ministry of Morale amusement park. Parents smiling warmly as their colts and fillies pranced in place with anticipation. Oh, I wouldn't know. I mean, it seems kind of familiar. It looks okay. I think I remember what it, was at one point. Because the logo didn't change, I don't think, right? Parents warmly. Colts and fillies pranced in anticipation. I don't know why, but I was certain that Mom. Who's Mom? Ministry of Magic. Oh, that could be it. Had built amusement parks, and they said they had regularly packed full of screaming kids. I saw mothers urging their colts not to climb on the seats, fathers checking to make sure the cameras had film, and a great wall of green flame with a sinister rainbow sheen rushing towards them that somehow no pony could see. Hello! Hello! I saw a pony named Trixie. We love Trixie, leaving a message on the door to her cottage, grinning as she assured herself that her whole life was about to change. I saw her walking away from that door, which, in the dream, I had somehow become. Even as I called out to her, come back, knowing that if she left, she would never leave to see her little cottage again. I called, pleaded, cried, but she could not hear me and walked away. Why'd Trixie walk away? Oh, it's a memory orb thing. I saw ponies giving their loved ones the great news that they had been selected for a stable. I watched as they bright and colorful and living ponies trotted into their new homes, the clock on the wall above them counting down the minutes until an accident would doom them all to horror and death. That has to suck. That's gotta be horrible. Wow, that is deep. I awoke with a fit. I was laying somewhere, a bed, but every time I tried to remember exactly where I was, or how I got there, the memory slipped away. I opened my eyes. The room was dark, but light poured in through a cracked open door. I didn't recognize the walls with shadowed posters on the roof with its still and silent turret. My body felt wrong. I ached. I felt horribly weak. I had chills when I wasn't sweating profusely. My stomach churned. Ooh. Oh. Okay. My body felt wrong. I ached. Felt horribly weak. I had chills when I wasn't sweating profusely. My stomach churned. My mouth tasted strange and mushy. I thought they were like my mouth tasted orange. That would have been weird. Shadows trotted near the door. I heard Calamity's voice. Do you think she went and picked up something in the stable? Velvet Remedy's voice, soft and clear, responded. Or it could be brought on by stress. I'm worried about her. I think the wasteland is getting to her. Y'all seem to be doing well, Calamity observed, his voice low, so as not to wake me. Velvet gave a wry yet very feminine laugh. Not well as you think, my noble outsider. Was that sarcasm or affection? I couldn't tell, and trying to think about it made my thoughts swim. Oh my gosh. And I thought that I should do better than Little Pip. I'm over a decade more mature than she is. Great. I'm a child to her. Beautiful. I'm a fucking filly. The same filly as the first time we met at some older filly's cutie Senora. My life just couldn't get any better. And all those drugs she's been taking, they're certainly not helping. Hello! Hello, welcome! Welcome to the party. My stomach convulsed violently. I wanted to cry. My eyelids were too heavy to look around anymore, and I didn't fight them as they closed on their own. I turned away from the slice of light coming through the door, falling again into fitful sleep. Woo! Holy cow. I love reading. Oh no. Hello. Oh, you're back. Are you gonna stay in here with her all night? Calamity's voice was a whisper, very close to my bed. I wasn't entirely sure that I was awake, much less at the point the tides of dreaming had deposited me on the shore of awareness. I vaguely recalled a change in the darkness, a fluctuation of light, perhaps the opening of a door. At least until her fever breaks, the whisper of a Velvet Remedy's voice sounded from near my head. My ears twitched. She's awake? Oh, she awake. Whoopsies. Accidents happen. She's been in and out. She'll sleep better once the fever's broken. Okay, I'm not sure I can give you the whole summary of the story. Well, like, we literally just started reading this, so not much has happened. Currently, I think Little Pip is out cold. I can't exactly remember. Oh, they got shot in the last one, I believe. And I believe they're just out cold or something. Calamity and Velvet Remedy are pretty much Little Pip's companions right now. It's interesting. They got they got a little love triangle thing going on here. It's very, very confusing. They can't seem to make up their minds. But not much. Yes, it's been a rather tame so far. They're trying to get parts or crud for this Steel Hooves guy, or was it Steel Horse? Who is in power armor. The first set of power armor we have seen, also known as the Steel Rangers. But yeah, so far, slow beginning, not much has happened. And hello! Hello. I'm not too sure where the heck I was. Flew person at least until her fever breaks. The whisper of Velvet Remedy's voice sounded from near my head. My ears twitched. She awake? She's been in and out. She'll sleep better once the fever's broken. Wonderful. My body felt alien to me. My mind was horrible shifting haze. I said a silent prayer to Celestia, begging her to take my sickness from me and cast it to the moon. Dang. Just send your problems to the moon. I'm more worried about you, Calamity said. And not just 'cause you need to sleep too. Oh my god, simp. Celestia, do you hate me? My sickness and misery was giving them time to bond. My mind started tormenting me with the images of they might be spending their time together. Now I was effectively out of the picture. Oh my god. Yeah, this is based on Fallout. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's kind of different. Yeah, it is based on Fallout, though. You are absolutely correct. Hi again. I'm not sure. Celestia and Luna are kind of out of the picture. I mean, yeah, they all played a part in the lore-wise of things that led up to possible this point. But they're not really in the picture anymore, I'm pretty sure. It's more so like world-building knowledge that they are used for. Let's see. Oh, my fever brain insisted that she sounded pleased as well as oddly condescending. Your shield spell ain't anywhere near as strong as them, Calamity paused. Alicorns, I guess we're calling them now? Was that disgust in Calamity's voice? No, not disgust, but something else. Something unpleasant. As if the word didn't taste good. Your point? If you're gonna be making a habit of using your body to shield other ponies, you need to start wearing armor, Calamity insisted. Yeah, Calamity, I was going to tell her that too, just never quite had the chance. I forget. Velvet Remedy likes to be a common bullet sponge. My head was feeling heavy, just listening seemed to take effort. My body was too hot, the blanket drenched in sweat, but all my limbs were too heavy to move. Sleep was creeping up on me like a manticore ready to pounce, wanting to drag me off into nightmares again. Won't get me into anything worn by one of those nasty raiders. Velvet was saying I realized I missed part of the conversation. Oh man. I got you. Wouldn't want you to slave her armor neither. Bad idea. Ask Little Pimp when she's up and about. Calamity whispered firmly. But when we get to 10 Pony, we gonna buy you some proper duds for the equestrian wasteland. My despondency evaporated at those words. A strange sense of relief twisted by illness washed over me. Part of me, I realized, had been afraid that they would leave me. I felt doomed to wander until either I found my place in this hellish outside, or I fixed it, at least as much as I could. I supposed I was searching for my virtue, as Watcher had suggested, like a filly trying to invoke her cutie mark, but Calamity and Velvet Remedy were not burdened by my quest, or my sense of being utterly lost. Why wouldn't they leave me to it on my own, once they had found some place to stay? 10 Pony Tower, for instance. Why shouldn't they? To hear them speaking of getting Velvet Remedy armor, something I firmly agreed with Calamity that she needed, even though I couldn't picture my elegant idol wearing anything other than classy dresses, to know they were planning for a future wandering the equestrian wasteland, presumably with me, filled my heart with assurance and hope. Oh, how adorable. That is adorable. Oh, they keep trying. But despite the warmth of these feelings, I drifted back to sleep. My mind began to venture again down dark paths. I found myself wondering what, if anything, could have been done to save all the ponies of Stable 29. With exposure to the surface fatal and their water talismans dying, all I can see was hundreds of ponies trapped in the sarcophagus underground, already buried, waiting to die. Oh yeah, in the last chapter we read, there was some sort of, they went to a vault, right? But this vault was controlled by an artificial intelligence. I forget its name. It had a super powerful name. Started with a C or something. I don't remember, but regardless, basically the water thing got damaged a little bit. And so whatever percentage of like water production, basically, whenever that went down, it went down gradually, right? But this AI, in order to make sure to keep ponykind safe, basically killed ponies using the facility's defenses and crud. Just because of the water percentage not being able to support the amount of ponies in the place. So it just executed them. It was really freaking crazy. And in past 3 months, like, everyone was dead. But yeah, but despite the warmth of these feelings, I drifted back to sleep. My mind began to venture down. Wait, did I read that? No, oh, no, I'm good. But despite the warmth of these feelings, as I drifted back to sleep, my mind began to venture again down dark paths. I found myself wondering what, if anything, could have been done to save all the ponies of Stable 29, with exposure to the surface fatal and their water talismans dying. All I could see was the hundreds of ponies trapped in a sarcophagus. Oh, I read that already. Although I'm already lost out where I'm at. They did not. My mind insisted, need to die with such violence and horror, but the only way I could think of it, to save even one of them. No, that would have been too abhorrent to consider. Hello, welcome to the party. Oh my goodness, everyone's coming back. Hi, what's up? What's shaking, bacons? Oh man. My only way to save even one would have been to make sure the strain on the water talisman was so minimal that its deterioration would have taken several decades, something that could only have been done if, instead of initially reducing the population by that minimum of 0.02%. I cringed away from myself, revolted that I could even think such thing. I awoke again hours later with a silent gasp, drenched and chilled with the cold that sank into my soul. My sense of what I had been dreaming collapsed into a dark pit that was swiftly sealed by wakefulness. Only a few shreds of memory remained. I was fairly certain it had something to do with Ponyville Library. Dead cats! Dead cats! What do you mean, dead cats? And being burned alive by a dragon. I found a canteen had been hung by the side of the bed. I drank greedily from it and then fell back into the horrors of sleep. Oh my goodness. Hi everyone. How's it going? How's it shaking? Ooh. Just gotta open. Oh, that was loud. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta open this. Woo! Yes, welcome. Welcome back. Folks, I'm gonna be honest. Blue raspberry is really good. Blue raspberry is super good, but like sometimes it hits like a truck. It's just the right amount of like sour, kind of. What was everyone's like favorite? Like, I guess I don't even know. Can you even call that a fruit? I don't think blue raspberry is real, right? I think that's like a fake berry, right? I don't remember. Okay, let's see. Okay. No, don't go. I'm trapped. I cried out. Oh shoot, I forget. Little Pip has been hit with the fever dreams. No, don't go, I'm trapped. I cried out, my hind legs crushed under a fallen wall, but Velvet Remedy and Calamity just walked away. Please don't leave me here. That is sad. I didn't think so. I thought it was fake. Velvet Remedy leaned her head against Calamity's mane and nuzzled. The ground was stretching between us. They were barely walking, but they were getting further away. The clouds were boiling down, becoming fog, surrounding and obscuring them as my heart threatened to seize. I knew that when they disappeared, I would die. I awoke crying and beat a hoof against my pillow. Despair tainted my hope like a cupcake with ashes mixed into the batter. They were staying with me, but I was losing them to each other. Dude, this is like, the rise of Little Pip's, like, jealous vengeance arc. How it's, Calamity and Velvet Remedy against them. Dude, this love triangle is really proving problematic. Oh man, that's kind of funny, actually. My ears perked. There were no voices. Oh, Luna. I was alone. They left me. I still felt trapped. My head jerked up, looking around frantically. Gray daylight seeping between heavy currents. Were they armored mesh? raised the ambient illumination in the room. Something heavy pressed against my side. Turning, I found Velvet Remedy asleep, her head having fallen into the bed beside me, pinning me under the blankets. Relief was like a flood of painkiller. How fun! Y'all know what a flood of painkillers like? Gosh, imagine being hit by a tsunami, but instead of water, it's just painkillers. Like liquid painkillers. Oh, I respect that. I think that's canon, though. Almost, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's see. I raised the ambient illumination in the room. Something heavy pressed against my side. Turning, I found Velvet Remedy asleep, her head having fallen onto my bed beside me, pinning me under the blankets. Relief was like a flood of painkiller, numbing their irrational fears of the night horrors which clung to me like leeches. I was happy for Velvet and Calamity. No, I really was. I was just lonely. I think it's like the only... I'm not sure. I think it's like definitely one of the like more canon ones, though. Lonely and frustrated. I looked away from Velvet and found myself staring at a huge wall poster, garishly pink, advertising the Philadelphia Fun Farm amusement park. Everything the Grand Galloping Gala should have been. Endorses Pinkie Pie every day forever. Well, now I knew where that notion had come from. On the opposite wall was another copy of the recruitment poster. You too can be a Steel Ranger. Join the Helldivers. I'm just kidding. This ain't Helldivers. I realized where I must be, lifting my pit buck. I checked the auto map, Steel Hooves Shack. I collapsed back onto the bed, feeling unbearably exhausted physically and mentally. What's the question? Shoot, dude. Okay, so they, I believe, rescued Steel Hooves, and then they went back to his place. And that is where Little Pip is currently living out their fever dream fantasy. See, I always struggle with that question, but realistically, if I could only pick one, I'd say green. You know, believe it or not. I'd say green. That is what little child me was like, but as I got older, I've come to like the color more like rainbow. I didn't want to... At one point, I decided I don't want to exclude the other colors. I want them all to be together. So I eventually just picked the rainbow. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Check. Oh no! Oh no! What's the question? I'm not reading that. Which was not the shade that mixed well with ale. It was having Velvet Remedy so close and pressing up the punches, not much of my weapons, running and cry. Okay, moving on. Favorite character in what? This story? Did we have this conversation already? Was that you earlier? I can't remember, everyone. I was too hot, too sick, but still as I lay back, I tried to summon up daydreams that would relieve at least one of my symptoms. My hooves beneath my blankets, I turned a face away from Velvet Remedy and shame. Are we talking about, like, story-wise? Just, like, pure to Fallout Equestria that I'm reading? Or are we talking about something else, you know? Like, context matters. Because if we're talking... If we start branching out too much, you're gonna lose me. Not gonna be able to answer ya. I have limits. I can only go so far out of the current topic. I contemplated Candy with an I, but her face and features were already faded in my mind, and the ending of my relationship with New Appaloosa would sour any fantasy. I consider the rainbow main mare from the memory orb, but no matter how well she had aged, she was still older than I wanted to fantasize about. And even if I pictured her younger, the link between her and Calamity would just make it weird. Finally, I settled on daydream about my mare from one of my statuettes. The breathtaking, alluring white unicorn pony and her dreamy purple mane and tail. Yes, Rarity! Dude, when in doubt, she's thinking about Rarity. I can absolutely dig and respect that. That is so slay. That's true. That is so queen. Oh my goodness. Get him, girl. You know, when in doubt, think of Rarity. The breathtaking, alluring white unicorn pony with her dreamy purple mane and tail. Oh, that's... Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, so if we're going to, like, limit crud to, like, the main 6, like, if you want me to pick a favorite main 6, I can do that. That's a lot easier to work with. It's easier to have options, you know? But when you get given too much freedom, things become a little too confusing sometimes. I guess child me was a huge Rainbow Dash fan, but as I got older, I was like, you know what? Applejack's really frickin' cool. I respect Applejack. Applejack just became, like, one of my favorites. Rainbow Dash is definitely second, though. 20% cooler, you know, carry the one type thing. Enjoy that just as much as my sickness addled body would allow. For maybe half an hour, then a splash of cold water, I realized the mayor was fantasizing it was a Velvet Remedy's great something or other grand aunt that murdered my fantasy and danced cruelly on a corpse. The weight of Velvet Remedy's head was suddenly more pleasant than before. I could feel the warmth radiating from his head. God, dude, I love reading saucy fan fiction. I'm just kidding. It's okay. Sometimes it's very cringe, but you know, you kind of gotta live with it. Oh man, welcome. You have risen. Oh, for thyself, the great and powerful, magical big sister Rarity. Oh my goodness. Suddenly I felt heaving inside me and the taste of bile pushing to the edge of the bed. I vomited 2 crevices between the bed and the wall. I thought she was gonna like vomit out a Velvet Remedy. That would have been absolutely freaking like hilarious. It's like just make the relationship even more worse than it like. Well, it's not bad. They don't have a bad relationship, but they have like a very I don't know the word. Maybe serious? This is a serious relationship? I mean, they're definitely partners in crime to a degree. All of them are. Still retching my mouth, foul and burning, my eyes shedding tears, I heard Velvet Remedy stir awake. My fall was complete. Now, instead of being a child in her eyes, I'd be Vomit Pony. I had no chance of stealing her away from Calamity now. Not that I ever did. Or ever would. I'm not that kind of jealous, selfish pony, but just saying, if I was that kind of pony, that would be the final nail in the coffin of any chance I had. Felt Velvet's weight lift from the bed as she pulled back from me. Oh, little Pip, are you okay? What a stupid question, yet I nodded my head pressed against the wall. Let me get you some water. I waited for her to go, crying just a little against the wall, my coat battered and sweat and head burning against the wall. Goddess, I'm pathetic. Velvet Remedy returned to give me water, to clean the wall and floor of my vomit, to bathe me and replace the sheets on my bed. I was in no state to enjoy any of it, but I could properly marvel that she took the time on some pony like me. Holy cow, that was interesting. Apple Bloom. Oh, so you're doing every character though. You're accounting every character from the series. Oh, I agree. Applejack from main 6 is this is what I would pick. Applejack from main 6. Apple Bloom for CMC, and Luna for the princesses. That's what I would pick. Between those, in those categories. Hello again! The 5th high! I'm gonna have to start charging you highs. Okay, 1 sec. Okay. My fever finally broke sometime that evening, and I finally slipped into a restorative, dreamless sleep. I awoke feeling like I hadn't felt in days. Sane. My body was weak, but not feeble, and I was warm and thankfully rested. My mouth tasted pasty, but my stomach was settled, and I found I was quite thirsty. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, solid opinion. I rolled over in the bed and wondered how long I had been half delirious and spotted Velvet Remedy curled up on the floor fast asleep. My heart went out to her, recognizing how much I owed the older unicorn. Her head rested on an old jacket and somebody had pulled a blanket over her while she slept. I was sure it was Calamity, and I was pleased. Holy cow. This love triangle is like starting to become so much that it is physically starting to hurt me. Like, I'm literally like the Wicked Witch of the West when you add water. I'm literally melting over here. I'm literally the melting emoji. God. That is absolutely hilarious. As I floated the canteen from the bedpost, the deep resonating voice of Steel Hooves carried from the other room. Sorry, but I just don't buy it. I don't get ya, I heard Calamity respond. There was something in the tone of both ponies that caught my attention. My ears perked and I drank quietly as I listened. That guy, yeah, she's just that guy. Oh my gosh, Sakura's freaking awesome too, though. But she doesn't count. No, she don't count. Ponies that caught my attention, my ears perked and I drank quietly as I listened. Your group is like the beginning of a bad joke, Steel Hooves elaborated. A covert agent, a princess descended from pre-war aristocracy, and an outcast from an advanced civilization trot into a saloon and try to tell ponies that they're completely normal. I nearly choked swiftly and without a sound. I plugged the canteen and rehung it on the bed. You think we're lying? Thank you, Calamity, for sounding offended. I think either you're lying to me, or they're lying to you. I heard a stomp. I assumed was from Calamity. What makes you think? Because I was conscious, if barely. I saw all of us down for the count. That alicorn was at full strength, unimpaired, her magical shield shrugging off grenades. Then a moment later, she was dead. The low voice gave a grave accounting of our meeting. Battle like a school teacher reading a test scores. A single bullet hole right through the brain. You want me to believe some innocent young mare just weeks out of a stable did that? Do you even believe that? I didn't like how quiet Calamity was before saying, yeah, I do, 'cause that's what happened. An innocent young mare, Steel Hooves repeated, just out of the stable, with the refined criminal skills that let her pick every lock and hack every computer, even when no pony else in 200 years has managed the feat. I frowned. I had to admit, I wondered about the lack of other skilled lockpickers myself. But then, I also knew that I had owned my skill in precise telekinetic lockpicking over the years as part of my attempt to conjure my cutie mark. My CAT proved that my natural talents were focused towards mundane and arcane sciences, and my studies as a pit-buck technician and the tools of my trade gave me the education to manipulate terminals that few outsiders would have. But most of all, I knew that I hadn't been anywhere near as good at either of these things when I left Stable 2, as I had become since. I had been reading books and getting a lot of practice. Steel Hooves continued. For that matter, a stable that is still in closed operation. It's hard enough to find a stable whose population survived. A dark cloud threatened my mind at that. Calamity's voice was low and perhaps a little dangerous. Are you suggesting they ain't from a stable? Oh my goodness. What up, boo? Oh no, man, burned the water. I do not want to share my favorite because I look at so many of them. I obviously have, like, some I prefer a lot, some that I really enjoyed reading, but I don't want to. I plead the fifth. I don't want to comment on that, you know, that kind of crud. Just because I don't want to pick somebody else's story. I don't want to say someone else's story is a lot more enjoyable than somebody else's type crud. I want to be pretty much unbiased. Yep, those are all solid options for sure. Okay, hold on. No, nothing new. Weird. It's a quiet day, I guess. No, I'm sure they're from a stable. The voice was cool and even. I just find it more believable that they are highly trained agents on a mission. Perhaps from someplace akin to a Ministry of Awesome Black Ops facility than wide-eyed tours from a repository from civilian ponies. Ministry of Awesome Black Ops facility, folks. What does that sentence tell you? Because to me, that sounds as it says. Freaking awesome. That sounds so cool. Then wide-eyed dude, they sound like they're members of the Enclave. We love the Enclave. What? I didn't say anything. What? What I thought? Calamity said the Ministry of Awesome didn't actually do anything. Calamity nickered. That's ridiculous. Oh, are you kidding? Have you seen the Mr. Incredible memes where it's like, I don't know what it's like, I don't know what you call it, but like he scrolls through the computer. It's like all Ohio. It's all Ohio? Oh, that's a funny meme. Calamity Nicker, that's ridiculous. Really? Steelhooves asked. She survived a train jumping off a cliff. I caught her. Steelhooves paused and seemed to concede that one. How did you meet her? My friend hesitated. Then, with a sad breath, I nearly killed her. She'd just come out of Ponyville, where she cleared a nest of raiders. Calamity explained. She was covered in blood and wearing armor. She'd scavenged from him, so I mistook her for a raider herself, swooped out of the sky and started shooting. I could hear the regret in his voice. I felt a pang in my heart for him, but I also winced at his description. Even Calamity seemed to do a double take at how that sounded, because after a pause, he quickly followed with, they were raiders, mind you. Raiders ain't that hard to kill. Then, seeming to remember the wagon crash, he amended, if you're at least a little lucky, and the terrain is on your side? I see. Steelhooves deadpanned. So she's not a secret agent, Death Pony. She's just lucky. How about the other one? The Death Pony. Hello, greetings. Welcome to the, I don't know. Welcome to the crockpot, I guess. Welcome to the raspberry souffle. Or whatever mumbo jumbo that I can speak. I have a lot of mumbo jumbo. Uh-oh. Oh no, we get to read the simping arc. The Velvet Remedy. Calamity chuckled. She's a civilian. She's a medic and a singer. How does that fit into your covert ops stable theory? Any other talents? Does being the most beautiful pony I've ever met count? I can hear the smile in Calamity's voice. Other than that, no, I mean, well, she does have a freakish knack for getting what she wants. Bartering, I mean. And talking folks into stuff when she's not being... Calamity, shut up. Good luck, Calamity. Don't finish that sentence. A direct descendant of one of the 3 founders of Stable-Tech. The founder, who I believe was Stable-Tech's face of public relations, and also the sister of one of the 8 most powerful figures in the pre-apocalyptic government. A descendant with skills in seduction, trade, and diplomacy. Steel hooves intoned whirly. No, you're right. That does sound like a civilian pony. I groaned inside. How the hell did Steel Hooves manage to do that? I was beginning to doubt my story, and I'd lived it. Dude, he's got that riz, dude. He's got that charisma stat. He maxed out his strength. Let's see. What are his stats? What are his special stats, everybody? Oh my goodness. Let's see. Steel Hooves. I feel like his strength is definitely high, given his name being Steel Hooves, for crying out loud. I think his strength would probably be... I want to give him a nice 7 or an 8. I think that's fair. I feel like his intelligence is also slightly up, because he's not using charisma, he's just using his brain. Hello, hello. Plastic hooves. Oh my god. Oh my god. I heard Calamity sigh. I hoped it was out of exasperation. Okay, let's pretend just for a minute that my companions have been lying to me through their teeth. Oh no, Calamity, please don't. We've been honest. I know it sounds bad when he says it like that, but... Oh man. Oh, that's what you were up to? Calamity finished. To what end? Oh, what'd you think of that? The deep masculine voice rumbled. They marched into the center of a battle between raiders and slavers, somehow got their heads of two factions to sit down in the short one's crosshairs, and then proceeded not only to eliminate the one they didn't like, but to kill the dragon running the show, assuring the one they wanted was in charge. Calamity interrupted. I dare say I had a mite to do with that myself. Okay. Ugh. I know, we dealt with some slaver ponies. The first few chapters were pretty much all about slavers. I'm gonna be honest. I'll take a look, but I am not a fan of people just bragging, trying to raise mass awareness for their crud. It's cool. I respect it. And that's completely fine. But, you know, it's just not the place. It's just not the place. We're here to read a story. We're here to focus on something different that is not an AU. No, it's okay. No, we aren't rude to people here. We are not rude. Everyone is different, and we gotta respect that. And there's no problem. I mean, no, it's seriously not a big deal, folks. I'll take a look. I'll take a look someday. But just like constant reminders. You know, I'm okay if somebody asks every now and then, but like to show, I say this as nicely as I can. This applies to a lot of people, but just to show up and just be all about it, it gets kind of old, you know. It's like, have a real conversation. Yeah, you're all good, man. You're good. You know, I just would like it if people would just stay focused. Like, I'm reading Fallout. Why can't we talk about Fallout? You know? It's that type of thing. I like to stay in theme with the crud I'm doing. Obviously that makes me kind of a garbage streamer, right? Streamers are supposed to stay focused on every little thing and just talk to chat and crud, but I like to do stuff related to what I'm currently doing, you know? Talk about that stuff. And everyone has different tastes, you know? We're not the same person, and that's what makes everybody unique and awesome. We're different people. No, man, you're good. You're good. It's okay to talk about your AU. I have no problems with that, you know? But, you know, we also... Oh, you're not disturbing me, folks. Y'all aren't disturbing me at all. Disturbing is a big word. I would say, I would take 10 steps away from the word disturbing. Calamity interrupted. I dare say I had might ado with that myself. Steelhooves continued undissuaded. To me, that sounds like a special unit rearranging local power structures to suit their purposes, whatever those purposes might be. Goddesses, damn it! That's what ponies were thinking, and I have been... wow, chagrined by my reputation when I was supposedly just a hero. This was insane. At least Calamity seemed to agree with me on that, right? Right. Okay then, how about this? If Little Pip was some sort of special Black Ops pony, how in tarnation could I have nearly killed her? Because underground training facilities aren't exactly the best place to learn to fight aerial opponents. I doubt you'd be able to get the drop on her again. What? What the heck is Pickle? What? Calamity was fighting not to fall for it, too. Bless him. Look, I've been with them. Y'all haven't. I know they're surprising. But if you got to know them, I'd see that they're not spies at all. Steelhooves' deep voice seemed on the verge of a chuckle. Yup. Thank you, Calamity. Not a sly, sneaky hair in the manes, then. Not a one. Did you know that when Little Pip sleeps, she has a cute little snore? I do not... Oh, crap. Oh, my goodness. Holy cow. I'm geeking you. Okay, I know that was bad. That's kind of the point. Pickle... What the heck is this pickle crud? What? What are y'all talking about? Pickles? I don't know what pickles have to do with this. Oh. Ohio. I swear, y'all have to watch, like, the, Mr. Incredibles meme. Where he goes on the computer. He just scrolls through it. It's like the, I don't know. It had something to do with, like, the Pride Month agenda or something. Regardless of what it was hilarious. I would give it a watch. It was silly. It was goofy. It was a little tee-hee-hee-hee. By the way, folks, we just learned Little Pip has a cute little snore. What the heck does that mean? That is such a weird thing to say to someone, though. Who says that? They have a cute little snore. I don't think I have. I have no clue what that is. Come again? I was just finishing dressing myself and was levitating my saddlebags into place when the pony in magically powered armor had stepped in and made his announcement. I will be accompanying you to Pony Tower. After risking yourselves to save my life, escorting you safely to your destination is the least I can do. Okay, hold on. Steelhooves has to calm down here. Listen, he charged in there to save them, right? Then they all went into the vault to save him. They basically scratched each other's backs. So I don't think he is under any circumstance obligated to escort them, though. I will admit, a man in power armor, or should I say, a stallion in power armor. There we go. I was dumb for a second there. Brain not braining. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what pickle news is. Oh yeah, every single one is made by somebody different. They are all unique in their own way. You just gotta be able to see it. A lot of people are very, very ignorant, I guess you could say. The South Park Michael Jackson. No, you're ignorant. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. Steel hooves, how I put his hooves down. I insist. Honestly, if you ain't gonna tussle with a guy wearing full-on power armor, let's be honest. I frowned looking about the room while I thought. The shack had 3 rooms, the bedroom, the main room, and a workroom in the back. Upon seeing the whole of it, I realized that Steelhooves had given me his own bed to sleep upon, and that every pony had slept on the floors, save for me. It made me feel grateful and guilty. This was not the bedroom I had spent the last several days sick in, but the main room of the shack, featuring a dinner table, rows of metal lockers, a desk with a glowing terminal, and a few scattered trophies as decorations. Above the desk was a banner, a half apple with an inlay of 3 magical sparks ringed by gears, held by crescent-shaped wings and overlaid by a sword of a war with a mouth brace. That is way too much to process. Is that supposed to mean the Brotherhood of Steel? Is that what I'm understanding by reading that? It was the same emblem that adorned the flank of Steelhooves' battle armor, right where his cutie mark would be hidden. Is that is the Brotherhood of Steel, correct? Or like a variation of it? The Steel Rangers. I sighed. You have to ask the others, I said, cinching my saddlebags tight. I started to strap on the holsters and slings for my weapons. I already spoke with them on this. They claimed you're their leader. What? Why? I was really the least qualified to be in charge, because the radio kept saying so? I added that to the list of things to talk to DJ Pone 3 about when we arrived at the 10 Pony Tower. Is that another word for like the tops? I looked over to Velvet Remedy, but she was laying on the floor, her mind lost in Fluttershy memory orb. In the back room, I could hear Calamity working on the weapons he had procured from Stable 29's armory. Our pockets were now filled with common, low-caliber ammo that fit none of the weapons we prefer to use, and Calamity was swapping parts and doing repairs on small pistols and low-powered rifles, meant to use those bullets. Not that we expected to use them, only the armory's supply of shotgun shells was likely to be of service to us. But both weapons and ammo would be valuable trade goods. A radio in the back room, DJ Pone 3's radio station. The sounds of a quartet of ponies gave way to a melody of sorrow, fear, and hope, and the vocals of pleasant-sounding Buck, who was 200 years dead. I want to calm the storm, but the war is in your eyes. How can I shield you from the horror and the lies, when all that once held meaning is shattered, ruined, bleeding, and the whispers of darkness tell me we won't survive? Strapping my sniper rifle into place, I finally looked to Steelhooves, but my answer faded when I saw he was looking away. His gaze focused on a small picture in the corner of the room that I hadn't noticed before. The picture of an elder orange mare, her yellow mane salted with gray under her cow pony hat. Wait, is this Grandma Jack? Is this Grandma Jack? Oh, wait, it's a he. Wait, what? Her yellow mane salted with gray under her cow pony hat. He swayed slightly. I felt the gravity in the room that told me not to speak. What? Grandma Jack? Granny Jack? Oh my goodness. I did move forward for a closer look, but I already knew I had seen this mare before, many times. Her statuette was in my saddlebags, as was the memory of her, at what had been Pinkie Pie's last party. I was certain now that the memory of Steelhooves was in that orb, too. How the heck is Steelhooves still alive? How long has the wasteland been obviously a wasteland? Beneath the picture was a display safe. Inside, perfectly preserved, was yet another statuette of the bucking orange pony. Be strong, in the glory of her youth, On top of the case was a small silk-lined box, much like the one I had found in Vinyl Scratch's safe, within which sat a single memory orb. Steel hooves only stirred again when the song ended, the last refrain echoing into nothingness. "You know her, didn't you?" I asked softly, gently. Steel hooves turned towards me. "How could I have? She died 2 centuries ago." I gazed at him, not judging, just knowing he stood rigid against the gaze for several minutes, until finally I looked away. DJ Pwn 3's voice erupted from the back room. "Get your ears up, faithful listeners, 'cause I've been talking and some of you ain't been listening. For years now, I've been reminding you that ghouls and zombies ain't the same thing. Ghouls are ponies who have had the misfortune of soaking up a major dose of magical radiation and not dying. That stuff twists and rots their bodies, but unlike zombies, their minds are still like those of any other pony, and they deserve to be treated as such." That sounds like it should be the opposite. That sounds backwards. Well, some of the ponies up in 10 Pony Tower didn't get the message, and when Sheriff Rottingtail kept pressing for him and his ghouls to be allowed inside just because they were sick of being hounded by manticores and slaughtered by bloodwings, Chief Grimstar, the head of 10 Pony Security, responded by hiring a bunch of mercenaries to scour the tenements along the Celestial Line and wipe them all out. Hello, 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 Mine Turtle. In an interview, when asked how he had managed to be such a supreme, D-bag, Chief Grimstar had this to say. Another voice, gruff and irritated, came through the radio speakers. "Fuck off. I did what was right by those I swore to protect." How noble. What a noble man. DJ Pwn 3's voice returned. "Just warms the heart to know that there are ponies steadfastly defending prejudice and bigotry, doesn't it? Thank you, Chief Grimstar, and may Celestia bless you with a kiss from the sun." The last certainly sounded like it was said through gritted teeth. I shook my head on the one hoof. I actually felt relieved to hear a news report that wasn't about me. But on the other, I had experience with both ghoul ponies like Ditsy Doo and actual zombie ponies. I knew the difference, and the idea of some pony endorsing wholesale slaughter of innocent ghouls because they couldn't be bothered to discern between them made me hurt and tinged my vision with red. The deep masculine voice of Steel Hooves nickered from within his metal helmet. "Not a fan of ghoul supporters, I take it." I looked at him in confusion that bordered on several darker emotions. My disgust had clearly been evident in either my face or body language. It hadn't occurred to me that my reaction could be easily misread as directed towards DJ Pwn 3 himself. One of the wisest, kindest ponies I've met in this blasted hellscape is a ghoul pony. I spat on her. Her name is Ditsy Doo, and she's easily worth any 3 Steel Rangers put together, not for fighting skills or fancy weapons, but for the quality of her character. I stomped a forehoof, hard enough to sprain it. DJ Pwn 3 is right, and if you don't get that, then you have no place traveling with us. Dude, deep. That is deep. Steel Hooves said nothing but began to pack. I gazed at the leftover parts strewn across the workbench in Calamity's wake. Now that I had all the parts to build my poison dart gun, I should use this opportunity to put it together. Invoking my single magical ability, I started to clear away a space while simultaneously pulling the schematics out of my saddlebags. "Morning, little Pip," Calamity trotted into the room. "Good to see you back on your hooves." I smiled a little thinly, giving him a nod. Then conversation from the night before still cast its shadow in my mind. I knew that Calamity and the Steel Ranger had talked about it, and just how convincingly Steel Hooves had woven doubts. Calamity knew I'd been eavesdropping, but neither of us had said anything. "Looks like we got ourselves a new traveling companion, at least for a little while," Calamity said conversationally. "What you think of him?" I shrugged. I still wasn't sure what to make of the Steel Ranger. I'd seen the shadows of both good and bad in him, but it was too soon to do anything more than to hop, skip, and jump to conclusions. This is really making me want to play some Fallout 4 right now. From Calamity's cautious tone, I could tell he was having doubts about steel hooves. I'll admit, we could use the firepower, he offered graciously. Be damned useful having an explosive ordnance specialist like that in the saddle if we run into any more of them alicorns. I nodded, having begun to worry about the next time we encountered those creatures. If my suspicions were right... On the other hoof, Calamity started to say that, and then stopped, as if questioning whether his opinion was worth voicing. I turned to look at him and lifted a hoof in a way for him to go on. Hello! Well, let's just say that the Steel Rangers ain't exactly got a reputation as champions of the common pony. Ah yes, reputations. The night's conversation loomed in my mind again. My eyes looked over Calamity, taking in the distance between us. I wondered if the gap was more than just physical. My memories pulled back the sheet on an almost forgotten dream of being trapped under a wall and watching my friends just walk away. Hey, little Pip, are you okay? Clearly I bore my worries like a cutie mark. I snorted at the dark humor of it. Some secret spy, I'd say. I'd be, not I'd say. Calamity clopped up next to me and put a hoof gently over my back. Now don't you worry. Nothing said by that lot is gonna sow seeds of distrust between us. Not sure. I don't think so. Unless it's like that Roblox one, then maybe. Not too sure. I looked up at him, wide-eyed. He smiled at me. I've seen your heart, little Pip. Y'all generally want to help folk. And you put your own life at risk to do so, even when some of them don't deserve it. I ain't gonna start questioning what you know about ya, 'cause some pony who don't know what he's yipping about can get and twist it all up. I could feel tears gathering in my eyes. I tossed my forelegs around the big rust-colored pony and hugged him for all I was worth. Oh man, is this where their love story finally comes to truth? God, that would be so awesome. Okay. No, I don't touch Roblox. Maybe someday I'll check it out, but I don't touch Roblox. I don't do anything involved with it. You look into it if you want. It was the first thing Steel Hooves had said to me since my outburst over an hour ago. Velvet Remedy was in the room looking over our provisions. Calamity was refilling out canteens from Steel Hooves' water purifier. I had finished my packing and had been staring aimlessly. My curious gaze had eventually fallen on the memory orb, sitting enthroned under the picture of Applejack, mayor of the Ministry of... Yeah? Yeah, I'm okay. I don't know why I wouldn't be. Full memory of sitting enthroned under the picture of Applejack, mayor of the Ministry of... I realized I didn't really know which ministry of Luna's government Applejack had been in charge of. I just had enough clues to make a few educated guesses. Oh no. I'm not touching that. Go ahead, Steel Hooves. Go ahead, Steel Hooves encouraged. It hasn't been viewed in a long time. Some pony else should remember. I regarded first the Steel Ranger, then the orb. I had to wonder why any pony other than a unicorn would be keeping one. Since only unicorns could access the memory stored within, it made no sense. I realized unless that pony was keeping it so that it could be shared, or say keeping it. Ooh. But even safekeeping it, it was just the same as throwing it away if no pony ever witnessed what was kept inside. That's so true, though. I nodded respectful of what I was being offered, then leaned forward, pointing my horn towards the sphere and touching it with magic. See ya! My world fell away. I was harnessed to something. We were standing off stage, concealed in darkness by a heavy curtain. Applejack stood next to me, staring out at the dark stone stage, the podium with microphone and speakers, the mumbling throng filling the auditorium in front of it, the huge brass MWT logo on the wall behind it. I, or at least the pony whose memory I was hiding, only had eyes for her. She looked nervous, not to mention uncomfortable in her former business dress. Formal. I can't do this. I felt myself speak, heard the words coming from my mouth. You'll be fine. The voice was deep and strong, like steel hooves, but not nearly so gravelly. They hate me. Half of them already been saddle sore 'cause I stopped pulling all my hooves into the ministry stead. I just let them do what they wanted. But bringing in Twilight ponies? From her tone, that had apparently not gone over well at all. I wrapped a foreleg around her neck, allowing me to glimpse the apple-green color of my coat, and nuzzled her gently, a sensation that I found quite pleasant, and after today, they'll all understand it, and they'll admire you for it. I, or more precisely, the pony I was riding, leaned close and whispered into her ear, Now go on out there and make history. I'll be forced to spank you! Woo! I can't whistle. I don't know how to whistle. But still, that's... You get the idea. Oh, Goddess Celestia. The orange pony blushed and gave her encourager a look that I could have paid almost anything to have a mare give me. Later, lover boy. She smiled, at least more cheerful now, and strode out before the crowd. The pony I was riding watched her stride, his eyes staying repeatedly to her flanks, taking my gaze with his. As much as I could blame him, it was making me feel distinctively uncomfortable. This was odd memory to be sharing. What's up? We're shaking. We're shaking. Odd memory to be sharing. Then I noticed that she had a holster strapped to one leg, mostly hidden beneath her formal attire. The ivory handle flashed 3 red apples as she walked. Dang. AJ's gonna kill it. Ah. Blue raspberry. Very acidic. Yup, I love that. Oh shoot, music stopped. I did not realize that. Hey, New Vegas! It's time for New Vegas? Alright, bet. I'm glad I noticed that. Gosh, dude, I could have gone the whole stream without noticing that. The reception was not the respectful and admiring silence which Fluttershy received. But Applejack stood up, straight at the podium, cleared her throat, and spoke slowly and clearly. Now listen up. I know y'all been a bit sore about having ponies from the Ministry of Arcane Sciences working with us. And know y'all are dedicated to improving Equestria, the Earth Pony way, and magic kinda flies in the face of all that. But there are some things that are just too important to let stubborn pride get in the way of asking for help. Trust me, I know. And I want y'all to know how proud I am to be standing here today. And to finally show you the fruits of your efforts. Most of you don't know what you've been working on. 'Twas important to keep things... The next word did not seem to come naturally to her. Compartmentalized. To keep this project out of zebra hooves. What y'all have accomplished in just 1 year? Ain't been a bunch of Earth ponies do more good work in less time than when we built Appaloosa. Until this point, her words were undercut by resentful rumbles of whispered opinion. Now her voice dropped in a tone both somber and deadly serious. The ponies in the audience began to hush, not for her, but out of reverence for what she spoke of. When I was young, my big brother, Big Macintosh, was always there for me. He was my closest kin, and he never let me down. And when Equestria needed him, he didn't let us down neither. He served heroically in our army, fought for our way of life for 3 years, and then when we needed him most, he made the ultimate sacrifice When that zebra bullet punched through my brother's armor and pierced his heart, it broke my heart too. I could see Applejack's eyes start to tear. Her voice trembled, but she pressed on. The room was now dead silent except for her. 1 year ago, we buried my brother Big Macintosh, and that day, I swore an oath that no other pony would die needlessly in battle. They're risking their lives out there for us. We owe them better. And now, starting today, we give them better. My memory escort started walking onto the stage. I felt the ropes trailing from the lift and pulled on the harness digging into my flesh. I felt the resistance and heard the wheels of the wagon I was pulling begin to move. Ponies of Ministry of Technology, I've get to y'all the Steel Ranger. Okay, goodbye. Thanks for stopping by. Ooh, yuck, that was disgusting. I apologize. Moments later, the memory collapsed, the last sight lingering in my mind as my own world reasserted itself. I glanced back at the display wagon and the magical power armor it was carrying. I looked to Steelhooves, sensing I now understood him far more than I had moments ago. The light gray of the clouds had descended, shrouding the landscape in fog. All around us, the rubble of blast flattened, and age-demolished buildings created shadows and obstacles. I regularly had to check my EFS compass to make sure we were still heading in the right direction. Even Calamity was grounded to avoid losing us. We were entering the outskirts of Manhattan now. I felt a pang of disappointment that I couldn't properly see the city. Calamity and Velvet Remedy had taken the lead. My frequent attention to my eyes' forward sparkle was as much to spot hostile creatures as to navigate. Another red spot flared up in front of us, just off to the left. Calamity, 7 o'clock. Calamity nodded and crouched down, sneaking forward. The fog wrapped about him, concealing him from my vision, but my EFS compass marked his position. Velvet hung back a little, but kept him locked in her sight, her horn glowing faintly as she prepared to throw a shield around the orange-maned Pegasus and the black Desperado hat. A moment later, a single twin shot rang out. Calamity returned. Giant rat hog! One of the mutated pig-like creatures I had encountered under the train bridge. I do hope you're not planning to cook and eat that, Velvet Remedy intended despairingly. I can't imagine all the meat you'd have been eating did you any good over the last few days. I shot her a look that she probably couldn't see and said nothing. You see, now that's why y'all are a vegetarian, Calamity laughed. Why ain't never had bacon? Trust me, if ponies were meant to only eat fruits, oats, and grasses, then the existence of bacon would be the proof in the pie that the world was just as cruel and evil. Oh, great. Now I had to try eating radhog, not roadhog. A few moments later, we had a cook fire started, and Calamity was explaining to me just which parts of a radhog were the most delicious. Velvet Remedy had chosen to join Steelhooves in ignoring the two of us. Her silky voice sliced through the air as she told Steelhooves, Now, if we get into a battle, I do hope you have the good sense to let Calamity and Little Pip handle it. No offense, I really am thankful for your coming to our rescue, but I came closer to dying from all your explosions than from the alicorns. I hadn't thought of it that way, but Velvet Remedy had a strong point. Steelhooves' weapons were all extremely excessive, and while that was very good for fighting manticores or alicorns at a good distance, it could be lethal to every pony in close quarters or enclosed spaces. I'd have to convince Steelhooves to keep himself in reserve until he was needed. I wasn't sure how that would go over with the Steel Ranger. Traveling with others and having to take precautions to keep his own companions alive was not. I suspected something Steelhooves had been required to deal with for a long time. Old song, Calamity was saying to Velvet Remedy as the two of them took the lead once again. If I sang a little bit of badly, probably, could you magic up some music to go with it? Well, Velvet said uncertainly, I could certainly try. Then with a reassuring smile, and your voice is quite good. If you took some singing lessons, you'd be very pleasant to listen to. I rolled my eyes. That's my Velvet. No, that's Calamity's Velvet. No, that's Calamity's. Oh, poor little Pip. This love triangle, it hurts. It burns. Oh, the humanity. I reasserted to myself and then wiped the whole thought clean. Velvet Remedy was Velvet's Velvet, and would be until she said otherwise. And even then, only so long as she allowed it, Calamity was going to be Velvet's Calamity. That is such a frickin' wild sentence. And I was not going to be jealous, Third Wing. Steel Hooves was bringing up the rear. I dropped back, choosing to engage him in a discourse rather than dwell on the two ponies in front of me, trying to strike up conversation. I told him I had a question about the memory I'd seen. What question? His voice suggested. There were a great many questions he suspected I might have, and that most of them were not really my business. The Ministry of Technology. Why MWT? With the unseen pony spoke, I could hear a touch of relief in his voice. Officially, it was the Ministry of Wartime Technologies, but Applejack hated that name. She was always the first to point out that the technological innovations that MWT championed and subsidized benefited all of Equestria, not just the war effort. I nodded, listening intently. It was a subject that Steel Hooves had some warmth for, but a small flash of green in the sky above us distracted my gaze. I looked up but saw nothing. I turned to ask Steel Hooves if he had seen anything, but he was continuing to speak about Applejack's ministry. I doubted a skywagon crash would have diverted his attention. Under the ministry's guidance and support, dozens of innovative technology industries blossomed across Equestria, and existing ones became a lot more powerful. Their products became part of every pony's daily life. Companies like Ironshod, 4 Stars, Equestrian Robotics, and even Stabletech. He turned his helmeted gaze down towards my pet book. So, why use a name focused on war? It should have been the Ministry of Technology. I heard music, not Velvet Remedy or Calamity. Patriotic gala music whispering out of the mist. I stopped turning in place until the little blip of light appeared on my compass. Oh, it's the Enclave. Did we finally run into the Enclave? This has gotta be it. Patriotism just speaks them. Every pony, please hold up. I want to check something. Alone? Steel Hooves questioned. Yes, I nodded. It's okay. I'll be right back. She do this a lot? I heard him ask my companion as I slipped off into the mist following the sound. Do what? Calamity snickered. Wander off? Break travel to explore random ruins? All the time. Ah, classic. These are wonderful characters. I was approaching the building. Half of it was a huge barn with vast shadowed windows. The other half loomed castle-like in the mist. My pip-buck flashed a name across my EFS. 4 Stars Grand Terminal and Central Offices. The music cut out with a static-laced pop. Hello, Watcher. Hello, little Pip. I see you've made a new friend. Maybe, I said, not committing either way. Nope, that was right. As if on cue, Steel Hooves' deep voice resonated through the mist. Little Pip, you okay? Wow, stealthy he was not. Hey, the mechanical voice of Watcher expressed. That voice sounds familiar. That didn't surprise me. Steel Hooves' voice was very distinctive, and if Watcher had been snooping on the Equestrian Raceland for any length of time, it may very well have spied on the Steel Rangers. Watcher. Now there was some pony who deserved to be suspected as covert ops spy pony. I looked around for the sprite bot, but the fog concealed it expertly. Instead, I spotted twin vending machines, Sparkle Cola and Sunrise Sarsaparilla. And a third set, just a few yards down from them, Ironshad's Ammo Emporium. The last had been torn apart and thoroughly looted. I felt a chill. imagining the kind of pre-war world where you could buy ammo along with your soft drinks at a street-side machine. No pony interaction necessary. Watcher, was there a Ministry of Awesome? It was just a lead in question. Clearly, I already knew. Ah, yes, Rainbow Dash. The disembodied artificial voice somehow managed to sound amused, even though it had no inflection at all. Yes, one of Equestria's heroes did decide that her ministry would be the Ministry of Awesome. They even built a ministry headquarters for it on Ministry Walk. I assume Calamity mentioned it. I nodded, then realized Watcher possibly couldn't see me any better than I could see the sprite bot. Although it would truly surprise me if that was the case. I stated, yes. Ministry Walk. I had heard of that place before, but I couldn't quite put my hoof on where or when. After pondering it fruitlessly, I finally asked, what did the Ministry of Awesome do? I loathed questioning something Calamity had told me, especially based on something Steel Hooves had said. Even more so often, Calamity had not done the same. Not much, Watcher said to my great sense of relief. I mean, Rainbow Dash did throw 2 or 3 projects their way. The Single Pony Project was one of theirs, for example, but for the most part, they just lounged around and did nothing. After a few years, Luna ordered it crated up, and they began using the MAWHQ for storage. Huh. Ministry of Awesome? Why is it... I'm guessing this must be a typo, right? MAW? Another question came to me. I activated my Pitbox inventory arrangement spell and opened my saddlebags, then stopped checking to make sure. Can you see me? Yes, little Pip, I can see you. I thought so. I floated out the 2 statuettes I had found. What are these? Of course Watcher knew the answer. Limited edition ponies of Harmony. Those are some pretty nice little magical artifacts you have there. Only 42 were ever made. 42? I was expecting closer to 6. Equestria's heroines. The 6 pony friends whose virtues match the elements of harmony. There were 7 sets made, 1 for each of them, and 1 that Luna kept for herself. The ponies mostly gave them to each other, although a few of the statuettes were passed on to loved ones or family members. That made sense. Sweetabelle had her sisters. Applejack would have given 1 of herself to her buck friend Applesnack. I wondered if the one I found in Old Appaloosa had originally been a gift for Brayburn. Oh, now I remember who your new friend sounds like. The name Watcher told me made me glad I wasn't drinking Sparkle Cola again. Who was it? I never got to finish my question. A crack of static replaced Watcher with the voice of Red-Eye, who was in the middle of telling everyone that raiders, ghouls, and hellhounds were bad. His voice faded as the sprite bot wandered aimlessly away from me until it was swallowed entirely by the mist. Dude, that is ominous. That is freaking ominous. Okay. Yikes. 4 Stars was an elevated train company which had once provided public transportation for the Manhattan metropolis. Steel Hoof suggests that if the monorails were still intact, it would make the easiest route through the city, carrying us over the maze of rubble and away from most of the radiation-twisted aberrations, and occasional raiders that lurked in the ruins. It sounded like a good plan, so I stopped at a still illuminated sign mapping out the rails. This station was part of the Luna Line, the Celestial Line, which crossed it at several points, led straight to Ten Pony Tower. Calamity finished rummaging through the garbage bin, returning with a surprising collection of syllable items and a few dozen bottle caps. Velvet Remedy rolled her eyes. Well, I hope that's enough for you to buy a bath once we get to Ten Pony. Dude, savage. Okay, hold. I looked across the waiting station towards the heavy doors into the more castle-like office structure. There were blackened panels that looked like turret emplacements which had been destroyed ages ago. Curiously, I trotted over to the door and tried it. Locked. Well, that was just begging for me to open it. What are you doing? Steel Hooves asked. as he and the others joined me. I want to see what's inside, I said simply, focusing on the lock. This was a hard one. 4 stars did not want to give up its secrets easily, which only made me all the more intent on learning what those secrets were. I heard Calamity make a snicker that clearly translated to, "Told you so." The lock clicked triumphantly. I swung the door open. In an eye blink, I registered the expanse of the gray lobby, its semicircular desk fortified with sandbags and makeshift barricades. In that glimpse, I saw the scattered bodies of a dozen steel rangers, suits of magical power armor holding skeletal ponies inside, and I saw the 3 scorched holes in the ceiling which had once held turrets. Does that mean they found free power armor? The remaining turret on the 4 stars lobby ceiling swung around and opened fire. I was taken by surprise, but Velvet Remedy had been prepared. Her shield burst around me, even as the air was filled with rat-ta-ta-ta-ta of machine gun fire. However, the shield gave no protection. The bullets ripped right through it. Well, that was loud. The shield gave no protection, rolled right through it, then through my armor and through me, a body tore apart in agony. Dozens of things going horribly wrong inside all at once, as at least 6 stars passed clean through me and buried themselves in the station's floor tiles. I barely heard the explosion's roar of Steelhoof's grenade machine gun. I still don't know why he has a grenade machine gun. That sounds so destructive. As the collapse sounded light fleeting from me, it was as if I was falling down a wall. Through the distant ring above, I could see the ceiling detonate in a mass of fireballs, then come raining down with the distant thunder collapsing into the lobby below. I returned to the wasteland of the living, alert and in pain. Velvet Remedy was pouring another extra-strength restoration potion down my throat. I choked, gasping. Welcome, little Pip. You came very close to losing you. Velvet's voice was stern with worry. What happened? Calamity's voice called out from somewhere further into the rubble. Armor-piercing bullets. His voice sounded disbelieving and alarmed. Stop, ordered Steelhooves. I panicked, wondering what I was doing that I could stop. But his exclamation was just directed towards Calamity. I will not let you loot the bodies of fallen rangers. Oh my god, we have one of these guys. Hey, Calamity shot back. In case you didn't notice, they ain't using this stuff anymore, and the ammo that ridiculous battle saddle of yours throws around ain't cheap, and ain't the sort of stuff you find in Raiders ammo boxes or the desk drawers of office buildings. We need to scavenge it from wherever we can. Whenever we can. Wherever we can, whenever we can. Oh no, oh, you are going to be so out of the loop. I don't know where to begin with trying to tell you what's going on. Oh no. Calamity quieted a moment and tried to interview. Missile in his mouth. Wait, hold on. Okay, so they just walked. I'll just give you a little rundown. They just walked into a building and they got shot at by automated security systems. That's pretty much what just happened. It's not a lot to go off of, but you know, the recording is still gonna go up after, so you can check that out later. We've gone through way too much. I don't think I can even recap stuff anymore. Store Stone Raiders ammo wherever we can, whenever we can. Calamity quieted a moment, then trotted into view with the missile in his mouth. Trust me, he ain't wishing if... He spat out the missile into a pile he was collecting, shooting a glower at Steelhooves. I looked at Velvet Remedy, who was prodding me to drink more. Right from now on, sneak into buildings that might not be friendly. Steelhooves made his way back to me. I wondered how covert, super death pony-like I looked to him now, my armor full of holes and covered in my own sticky blood. Dude, Little Pip just gets shot up. They're literally a bullet sponge. Hello, hello, hello. I would need to have it cleaned and mended when I got to 10 Pony Tower, or maybe sooner. I was guessing I didn't look much better than I had coming out of Ponyville. You definitely got my attention, he said, and turned towards the nearest dead ranger. Now I want to know more about this building, too. I nodded. Okay, let's split up. I considered keeping Velvet Remedy at my side, but realized it wasn't the best play. Steel Hooves with me. Velvet, would you mind staying with Calamity? You two will look into the rest of this floor in the basement. We'll check out the office upstairs. Velvet smiled and then fixed me with a harsh stare. Be careful. We are reading a story called Fallout Equestria, and currently our characters are going into some sort of big ministry building. Or, I wouldn't even say a ministry building. It's more like a hub? A train hub, I think? Honestly, I read this a lot, but a lot of stuff just goes whoosh, 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 you know? Reading it aloud, I kind of zone out sometimes. But looks like our gang is... Let's split up and look for clues. Like, Scoob. No, wait. Like, Daphne and Velma, you're with me. Scooby and Fred, why don't you go check over there? Oh god, you look into the rest of the floor basement, we'll check the office upstairs. Hold on, let's see. We're pretty far down in the chapter, but if you're concerned in total, we have about 30-something more chapters? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we got a while to go. We're not doing this all in one day if this is your first time here. The rest of the floor in the basement. Like, thanks, man. Like, would you like a weed brownie? Fix me with a harsh stare. Be careful. A lot more careful than this was. I promised. I appreciate that. Attention all 4 stars employees. In conjunction with new safety and security protocols, all employees will be issued a standard military class firearm. This firearm is to be worn at all times while on company property. Failure to do so, or failure to keep your firearm well maintained and properly loaded, will be grounds for termination under Employee Uniform Policy 13B. Oh, thanks. Teehee. In the unlikely event of incursion onto 4 stars private property by government forces, all employees are required to defend 4 stars proprietary property and executive personnel. All employees are therefore required to attend at least one of the 3 4-star defense and teamwork building weekend training programs this month. Failure to do so will be grounds for termination under Employee Attendance Policy 6F. Daisy May will be providing some of her lovely home-baked flour cookies for refreshments after the FSDTB exercises. Yum! Oh, I love that little announcement over the intercom crud. I'd read that same message before. It was on each terminal I'd hacked into. It didn't make any more sense. Oh, it was a reading from a terminal. Sense to me now than the first time. I looked over to Steel Hooves, checking to make sure everything was alright before I clicked the next one. I figured now was as good a time as any to ask Steel Hooves, have you ever heard of someone named Flutter Guy? Flutter Guy? Flutter Guy? Flutter Guy? That is so random. Oh my god, I love Flutter Guy. Oh, hello, hello. Steel Hooves whinnied. Why do you ask? Oh, I heard some pony say your voice sounded like Flutter Guy. Oh, thanks, teehee. I appreciate that. Steel Hooves gave a little stomp. Heard that before, my ears perked. I'd figured it was a long shot at best that Steel Hooves would have knowledge about the Pony Watcher had mentioned. I opened my muzzle to ask, but he silenced me. It's just a joke. Oh, if you mean the entire chapter, then yeah, you probably missed something. Oh, so much for insight. I turned back to the terminal messages. Evacuation policy employee version. We here at 4 Stars value your commitment to the company in the extremely unlikely event of a federal raid or worse, a mega spell attack. It is every employee's duty to bodyguard key personnel and ensure the safe evacuation of all employees in the following order. President of 4 Star and any shareholders on property, member of executive management, head researchers, the president's secretary, Daisy May, member of the mid-level management, research assistants with 6 black or gold level clearance, research assistants with orange or white level clearance, floor supervisor. Dude, this wrist is so freaking rigged. I would not risk my life to save some sleazeball corporate stooge. That is not... No way, screw that. A federal raid? Like, they're basically telling me this whole operation is illegal. Yeah, this is a very shady business. Once all the above have been safely evacuated from the property, we encourage you to seek your own safety. To ensure your protection, we are issuing military-class armor-piercing ammo to all employees above the supervisor level. Well, that's full supervisor. So every one of these people has armor-piercing bullets? That is horrifying. That is freaking insane. This is such an intense corporation. Holy cow. Like, Scoob, I don't want to work here anymore, man. But Ricky, we have no choice. Can't do it. To ensure your protection, to all employees above the supervisor. I sat back from the terminal and promised myself that if I ever was somehow hurled back in time, I would never go to work here. See, that's a valid response. Don't work at this place. Clearly, it's not the place to work. Oh, there was a surprising amount of still functional Arcano technology in this building, or at least there had been. Steelhooves was not subtle, and every time he took out one of the security brain bots or spider-like guard bots, he did massive damage to everything nearby. Scavenging had been reduced to finding things inside metal desks or looting boxes of ammo. Oh, hold on. Ricky? No, I don't think I can. Not right now, anyway. My voice is a little too dry. Ricky? No. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta get in the zone for it. No, I can't right now. We'll come back. We'll come back to that. We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot by the end of the stream. I'm a people pleaser. I'll try. Let's see. Fortunately, there were quite a few of each. Nobody had safely broken into the place in centuries, and the sheer number of ammo boxes alone could have supported a small army. Calamity had been right. Not one of the boxes included missiles or grenade ammo, but we had enough of just about everything else, including a lot of armor-piercing rounds, to last a good long time, with extra to sell. The prevalence of armor-piercing ammo had Steelhooves convincing this place had been fortifying specifically against the Steel Rangers. Not necessarily. When you read this much, just drinking some water isn't going to, like, completely restore you back to normal. You gotta take breaks, which we don't really do here. Alright, peace. Thanks for stopping by. There was one more, and this one seemed a private message. Oof. Rough. Seemed a private message not duplicated on any other terminals yet. R.E. Satin. Or Satan, whatever you prefer. I hear that the Ministry of Morale got her. Charges of sedition. Mom agents broke into her house in the middle of the night last weekend and hauled her away. Management's throwing fits on the floor above me. They seem sure Satin will say something, or worse, remember something. All I know is I'm expecting armored Ministry goons to buck in the doors any day now. Oh, dang. God, it sure pranked me. Fuck these Appleseed shooters. I'm gonna start bringing my gun from home. Holy cow. Steelhooves turned away, protecting my flank as I snuck around. I split my attention between the hall and my EFS compass as I scouted ahead, checking rooms, digging into desks, and looking through bookshelves until another splash of red lit up on my compass. Backtracking, I pointed Steelhooves in the direction of the next hostel, then I lingered back in the side room, not wanting to be caught in the backwash that accompanied any attack he made in a narrow hallway. No, I'm not sure what you mean. But on the screen? You mean full screen? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on. You mean like this? Like that? Is that what you're talking about? You just hit F11 on your keyboard. Should be on the top. If that's what you're talking about anyway. I'm not sure what you mean if that's not what you're talking about. Hit the floor. A robotic voice called out, "This is private property, federal pigs. Surrender and be annihilated." It was immediately followed by a whoosh of a rocket. The hallway erupted in flame. I have no clue. You're on your own there. To my surprise, I heard steel hooves hit the floor. Luna shitting moon rocks. That was from the security robot. What kind of robot fires missiles? Yeah, I don't know how to help you on mobile. That's all you. I pulled out my sniper rifle, loading armor-piercing bullets into it, then crouching low, I took a peek around the corner. Hello, I am new here. Nice to meet you. I'm just playing. But welcome regardless. I pulled out my sniper rifle, loading armor-piercing bullets into it, then crouching low, I took a peek around the corner. The robot took up most of the hall, and looked like a mutant child of a steel ranger in a tank. Its 4 legs ended in treaded balls that propelled it slowly down the corridor. I counted at least 3 weapons, including a missile launcher, turret, and a minigun set into swiveling chest mount that could rotate 180 degrees around the robot's frame. I am part robot, yeah, absolutely. Oh boy. Whoa. My mind searched for an appropriate level of profanity, but came up blank as the newborn's flame. Oh my gosh, dude. They just went there. The thing was rolling towards Steelhooves, who was moving but down. The chest minigun swung towards the fallen ranger. I was quite certain that it had armor-piercing ammo of its own. Leaping around the corner, I swung the sniper rifle and stored down its scope. That minigun stopped pointing towards Steel Hooves and began to turn towards me. As I slid into Sats targeting Nirvana, the sniper rifle roared off 3 shots in quick succession. What? I don't even know what y'all talking about. The first 2 bullets punched small holes in the head of the tank-like sentinel, seeming to only slightly impair its targeting. The sentinel's minigun tore up the wall, a single bullet tearing into the armor for a deeply grazing hit across my left flank. My 3rd shot struck into the missile turret, which promptly exploded. The rockets had been designed to take out a Steel Ranger. They were just as effective in rendering the sentinel inert. My left hind leg felt wobbly, fresh blood mixing with matted, sticky mess of my coat. I hobbled over to Steelhooves. His armor was administrating healing potions and bolstering drugs. The armor's self-repair spell was consuming scrap metal from an armored compartment over his right flank, rebuilding itself. That is so freaking cool! Holy cow, that is so awesome! Dude, your armor just automatically absorbs the environment around it to fix itself? That is cool! Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool! I stopped a moment and marveled at what Applejack and Mystery had created. 44. I wanted to get real close. I really wanted you to hear it. Oh, man. And that's just the chapters. Not including the side crud. Ugh. When I say that, I mean like the prologue and crud. I'm not sure it did. I'm not sure it did. Inspired by... Ah! I can't think. 44, what? 44 chapters. There's 44 chapters. 28 stab wounds. You can't run. You should be able to run no matter what phase of life you're in. The Sentinel's minigun tore up the wall, single bullet tearing into my armor. My 3rd shot struck into the missile turret, which promptly exploded. The rockets had been designed to take a real ranger. My left hind leg felt wobbly, first bullet in my skin. The armor self-repair spell was consumed. Will you be okay? I asked Steelhooves, nodded, stalwartly, not moaning. Then I'll be right back. I want to know what that monster was guarding. No, we're reading a story here. We're reading practically a book. It's not gonna take years. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna take years. It realistically though, in terms of a recording perspective, it might take months. Yeah. The Sentinel robot had been guarding the office suite of the President of 4 Stars. The desk was armored, designed to use as a barricade. Then there was a hidden panel in the wall. Well, it would have been hidden if it had been closed. The desk was locked. Picking it cost me a bobby pin and netted me what looked like a security pass card. I nickered at the irony, suspecting the card would have let us freely pass by all the robotic security we had to fight through to get here. Several locked boxes of ammo were hidden under the desk. As I opened the first, I found half a dozen Matrix disruption grenades. I knew immediately that they were designed to disrupt the spell matrices of Steel Ranger armor, rendering them helpless, just as the Alicorn's attack had done to Steel Hooves. But I couldn't help thinking how such grenades would also disrupt the more mundane technologies of most robots, including the ones guarding the room. Magical shotgun for dragon slaying in the dragon's chamber indeed. It took me several tries to hack into the computer, each time backing out before it could recognize the intrusion and lock me out completely. Yeah, you're definitely a first to have one even. Oh man, bye. I think. It's still the length of a book. This is technically a book. There are hard copies of this story. I could literally touch this story if I wanted to. If I wanted to buy it, I could literally hold it. It's a big story. A very popular story. Evacuation Policy Executive Version. When Manhattan suffers a megaspell event, or worse, if the Ministry of Morale stages a raid on the property, all executive officers of 4 stars are to proceed to the basement stable in accordance to evacuation procedures ZS1A 5D. Listed below. Please keep to your assigned routes. The 4-star stable is guaranteed to keep you safely protected in the event of either catastrophe and has food, water, and medical supplies to outlast even a complete megaspell event, nearly 12 whole weeks worth. The FSS also includes an armory, firing range to keep in practice, and plenty of reading material to keep you occupied. These include instruction manuals on how to acclimate yourself to the new exterior environment once after effects of megaspell detonations have subsided, and proper etiquette for greeting our ruling zebra benefactors. Holy cow. Okie dokie Loki. Steel Rangers were not Ministry of Morale. Some pony had called in the big guns. And worse, the ponies in charge had been expecting it. What were they doing? According to an attached map, the hidden stairs would lead us right down to the basement. We should be able to meet up with Calamity and Velvet Remedy swiftly from here. I began picking the lock on the weapons cabinet. Like the terminal, it pushed the limits of my skills. I was tempted to use one of my party time mentals to give me that extra edge, but just before I gave up and did so, the cabinet opened. Is that clips from security breach? No, this came out far before security breach. Let's see. What are you doing? Ministry of Morale calling big guns. According to the attached map, the hidden stairs will lead us right down to the basement. We should be able to meet with Calamity and Velvet Remedy swiftly from there. I began picking the lock to weapons. Oh wait, I already read that. Just before I gave up and did so, the cabinet opened. Inside, an armored dress, unlike any I'd seen before, red and black with golden trim, perfectly preserved. I pulled it out and draped it over my back, thinking Velvet Remedy would look stunning in it. The armor also came with a helmet, but I was tempted to leave it. The flourish of red feathers almost screamed, "Target." Also inside were several assault carbines of a peculiar and impressive design. One of them was scoped and fitted with a silencer. It had a custom wood carved handle stained with stripes of white and black. Holy cow, that is insane. You know what? People just don't like chatting. And that is not my problem. Oh. Yeah, doesn't help. You know, it is kind of a bummer, I will admit. Been waiting for you, little Pip. Calamity smiled at me as I joined him in the basement. I feel like this chapter just keeps on going. It just keeps going and going and going. You know, I feel like I'm playing the game Iron Lung, but instead I'm being lowered into the blood ocean, the blood moon, but I never reach the bottom. What? I have no clue. During basement, Velvet Remedy stood before a door sealed with terminal. Looking at the terminal, I was pleased to discover that it had magic eye for scanning pass cards. Damn thing would be useful after all. I offered Velvet Remedy the outfit I had found. She shunned the helmet as garish. But what the heck is garish? But soon had hold on. Garish. Definition. Obtrusively bright and showy. Well, that sounds exactly right up her alley. Why would she not want that? But soon had Calamity helping her into armored dress. I turned my attention to the terminal floating up the pass card. No, search this word. I had to search up that word. I did not know what that word meant. But it just means pretty much very bright and flashy. Calamity and helping on my job. Where the hell did you find that? Steelhooves' voice boomed as he finally caught up with us. I turned to look at him as I was telekinetically held the pass card in place. Steelhooves had stopped at the bottom of the stairs and was staring at Velvet Remedy. Little Pip found it in a locker upstairs, Velvet Remedy answered, prancing. How do you think it looks on me? Beautiful, answered Calamity. Sip. Garish? I don't know. It's not garnish, that's for sure. Beautiful, answered Calamity with a breath. The red and gold matches the streaks in her mane and tail, then with the sheepish grin. And I've never seen anything like it, which means no pony will mistake you for a raider or slaver and accidentally shoot you. No, I don't have to do that. I'm good. I have pretty good clue. I can figure it out. You do be going. Oh, we reached the bottom. The terminal's magic eye looked over the pass card and bleeped happily. Welcome, Mrs. President. Inner mechanics began to hiss and grind as the door began to open. This wasn't anything as sophisticated as a stable tech door, but it was certainly a few grades above anything I'd seen in the wasteland. I might shoot her. Steelhooves grumbled. We all shot her perplexed and nasty looks. That he explained. Is a zebra legionary's uniform. Holy crow! Oh my god, wait. Velvet Remedy is rare. The outfits. Now we know why this place was so corrupt. This place worked alongside with the zebras pretty much. I'm pretty sure this was like a company as a front and worked on the behalf of the zebras, given these uniforms that they found are zebra legionaries. I'm guessing that means this is a zebra holdout, pretty much. That is interesting. Calamity whistled. Velvet Remedy suddenly looked uncomfortable. I turned away, choosing to look instead into the darkness of the open mini-stable in front of me. Gleaming in the darkness, the eyes of at least a dozen zombie ponies stared back at me. Then I did a double take. Zombie. Yes. But not ponies. Footnote, level up. New perk. Action Philly, level 1. You know your targeting spell like the back of your hoof, making you about 20% cooler in combat. For each level of this perk, you gain plus 15 action points in stats. 20% cooler! Dude. That is absolutely extreme. Let's see. We are at chapter 15. Next chapter is, oh my god. Yeah, by the way, folks, this is how long it gets. It just gets longer and longer. Look at that, 51,000 words in that one chapter alone. 51,000 words. And for example, this one was only 11,000 words, and we've been here for pretty much 2 hours. So, you do the math. That's basically 10 hours reading that chapter. That's absolutely insane. Do I dare read this chapter? I don't have to. Wow. Wow. Should I read this next chapter? That is a good question. Should I stay or should I go now? Oh, God, I gotta think. That was such a good chapter. Tell you what, let's see. Oh, I gotta think. I gotta think this through. That's Calamity and Moral. Factions versus Towers. Towers! Good God. I probably should read this one, right? That way the next one is its own thing. You know what? Screw it. However, I am going to take like a quick 5-minute break real quickly. I gotta go freaking do some stuff. But I will be right back. We're not done. No, we're not done. We're gonna keep this party going. We are going to read this 6,000 word chapter because it seems pretty short and the next one's gonna be very long. So, yeah, I'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh, give me a second, folks. Okay. I am back. Give me just a second. Just want to check some things real quickly, and then I will continue. Oh, shoot. Oh, we're good. Okay. I, however, think it's a good time to get out of the New Vegas ambiance. Let's go back to Fallout 4. Oh, yeah. Classic Fallout 4. Okay. Okay. Do. Wow, we were hardly gone. It's only been like a few minutes. Okay. Alright. Chapter 16. Towers. You see, we remain the very picture of courtesy. Even in the face of such impolite accusations, we have nothing to hide here. Manhattan. Just over 200 years ago, it was a thriving, bustling metropolis. Manhattan was hailed as the most cosmopolitan city in all of Equestria. Millions of ponies lived or worked in the city, and it was home to some of the most elite circles of equestrian society. Then in an instant, Manhattan was gone. Millions of pony lives were consumed in the flash of light, heat, and magical energy. Okay, I'm not gonna search that up. I'm not exactly interested. I'm proud that you like that though, but you are capable of searching it up yourself. I don't want to search that up. I want to read my story. I say that kindly. Okay. Some of the most lit circles. Then in an instant, Manhattan was gone. Millions of ponies' lives were consumed in a flash of light, heat, and magical energy. Hundreds of thousands more were killed by the shockwaves and eldritch green fires that incinerated virtually everything that was left standing. Now all that remained of Manhattan in the aftermath of that apocalypse were the Manhattan ruins. Miles upon miles of maze-like urban devastation and ashes under the shadows of skeletal skyscrapers that rose out of the wreckage like monolithic tombstones. Yeah, apologies, but I know you can search things up yourself. I know you don't need me to search it up for you. I mean, scientifically, that's already real. That's technically just a truth. No, all... Everyone's technically an animal. We're just smart. A pony might wonder how such a holocaust could have been allowed to happen. How could Equestria's enemies have smuggled such cataclysmic weapon into the very heart of our grandest and largest metropolis? I found it was much easier to understand now that I knew that the most significant public transportation company in Manhattan was run by traded ponies loyal to Equestria's enemies, and that the basement of this very facility had been the staging ground for zebra operations within our homeland. I stared into the eyes of the zombie zebras and realized that this was how they had gotten the balefire bomb into Manhattan, that these zebras had been responsible for the murder of millions. Oh my god, that is freaking insane! Right under Equestria's noses! I also realized that the mini-stable under 4 stars fell far short of stable tech's quality. For all the harm stable techs playing around had done, those ponies really knew how to build a survival shelter. This inferior stable had not been able to stop magical radiation from bleeding in, transforming the zebras into almost a dozen ponies that had been intended to protect into ghoulish creatures before me. And yes, I realized they might not be zombie zebras so much as ghoul zebras. I'd say I didn't care, but part of me actually hoped they were ghouls as I stepped back out of the way. Steelhooves, give 'em everything you've got. The fog lifted by mid-afternoon, revealing the graveyard of the Manhattan ruins beneath the sky rolling angry gray. We walked above it, traveling single file along one of the twin monorails of the Luna Line, looking down on the blocks of city rubble below. In all directions, we saw collapsed and gutted buildings, blackened chariots and wagons, detritus and blown litter that congregated above the metal shafts of shattered street lamps. No skeletons, though. The living creatures of Manhattan had been reduced to nothing more than ash, mixing with the ash from a billion other sources as it was carried by the wind. I was beginning to spot a few small places where green balefires still burned. I wondered how even balefire could have survived for centuries. The wind carried particles of rust and ash, as well as the smells of the urban graveyard. A symphony of creaks and groans haunted the city, mixing with the sounds of shifting and crumbling concrete and the humming of wind-blown metal. Occasional staccatus of gunfire, usually distant and carried on echoes, reminded us that there were raiders, scavengers, and other ponies lurking in hidden streets and darkened structures. A flash of green and gold shot past us from behind, a magnificent bird both terrifying and graceful, which spread its wings in circled as if taken in our measure. Its eyes seemed to glow, and licks of balefire fell from its beak. "What is that?" Velvet Remedy asked with a tone of awe before I could find the words to ask for myself. "Balefire Phoenix," Steelhooves replied, whistling slightly. The green and gold bird completed a circle, then swooped down and away, disappearing from sight as it threaded through shadowed alleys. We began to move again, all except Velvet Remedy, who just stood there, as if mesmerized. She turned to Steelhooves, breathlessly demanding, "Tell me about them." Whinnying, we all halted again. Interesting fact about traveling single file. If one pony stops, unless they're at the back, travel tends to stop with them. I found myself staring at a ruined billboard, whose bottle of Sparkle Cola Rad seemed to actually glow. It's like a buck to the face, with radishes. Billboards littered with sky along the Luna Line like weeds. The Manhattan Gardens was the largest wildfire sanctuary of its kind, home to the most exotic and admired creatures, all of which were instantly cremated when the zebra's balefire bomb detonated. Steelhooves explained, "Of course, a phoenix doesn't exactly have the same relationship with being turned to ash that most creatures do." Steelhooves chuckled, "I wouldn't be thinking of trying to domesticate one. They breathe fire." A battered sea blue mare fled out the Dornus storefront and started running down the street, tears streaming from her eyes as she screamed, "Ah, hello there." A dozen raider ponies, each carrying a brutal weapon and wearing an old roller derby helmet, came tearing out of the building after her, jumping out of the windows and charging out the door, whooping and laughing. "Help me," oh no. She ran her gait hobbled, blood ran down between— oh no! 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 Oh, God, we're not reading that sentence. Oh, that is violent. Nope, we do not approve of anything like that. That is screwed the crud up. Yikes. Evil. With the Hail Luna Line, we were too far for Sats to effectively lock on, so I trailed the sculpt in front of the first raider. I modeled the brown and gray pony with a skull with burning eyes. Oh, how lovely. Aiming for where he was about to see Calamity instructed. Good, now keep her steady and squeeze out a burst. I magically pulled the trigger. 3 shots spat out a scoped zebra assault carbine, silenced weapons. I learned were not really silent, but the dampened sound was lost in the wind, and the weight of the silencer helped soften the recoil, keep the rifle on target between bullets. Raider pony burst into flame. He fell to the ground, screaming and thrashing. Stepped back, floating up the rifle to check the clip while Calamity took a shot. No, I hadn't accidentally loaded magical bullets. The zebra rifle had enchanted the bullet itself. Stick a horn with Celestia, don't shine. If this was the sort of weapon that Zebra had been carrying into the battlefield. The screams of the victim mare blew wrenched my attention. Back to the battle. Calamity fired off a second shot. Pulling the scope to my eyes, I saw that 3 of the raiders were now dead. One of the corpses burning in the street, and the other was scattering. The panicking mare screamed, her hooves catching on a toppled street lamp and fell skidding across the debris-strewn street. When the raiders were still charging towards her, I strung the scope towards him and froze as I really saw him. One of the raiders had been flanked cold. Oh no! Oh, you know, I love the story, but I know it's the post-apocalypse and crud, but we got some very sensitive issues on here on this story, alright? Stuff that shouldn't, be allowed. Oh, anyways. A roller derby hung on a street knife in the mouth, like its ear blood on him. I focused the trigger on the zebra rifle, moving slightly. Oh shoot, I couldn't. It was like, oh no, you gotta shoot him. You gotta put him down. He's too far gone. That's so screwed up. Oh crud. I'm screwing everything up on my side too. Horrified and watched as the call reached the fallen mare and dodging the kick. They should have thrown at him or heard the crack of gunfire feet from me and saw the cold body rupture bloodily to bleed. Yeah, I was like, he had it coming. He had it coming. Fling his corpse against a nearby mailbox. The little zebra ran to stare at Calamity in shock. On the other side of a velvet remedi's eyes were wide. What? Calamity asked before lying down to help the mare. Did I steal your shot? Honestly, you know what? And that rate, he was just gonna get like some sort of screwed up cutie mark, something really wrong and bad, so you best take care of it now before we get that far into the problem zone of the world. Ponies love laughter. Zebras do not understand joy and fear it. Ponies are honest. Zebras tell only lies. Ponies are loyal. Zebras will knife you in the back. Ponies are generous. Zebras are selfish and greedy. Ponies care about each other. Zebras care only about themselves. I stared up at the billboard and thought, wow, that's just wrong, Velvet Remedy said, breaking the uncomfortable silence that had become our traveling companion since Calamity shot the Raider Colt. The twin monorail tracks took a graceful curve and the billboard was mounted across the flying buttresses of a squat skyscraper, placed so that the trained ponies would see it as they approached the turn. It would have dominated the view out one side of the elevated train as it took the bend. Calamity had flown off ahead, more to give us space than out of a need to scout. The Luna Lion seemed free of threats. I really wanted a party time Mintal. I didn't have a particular need for one, but I felt myself craving the effects, especially the intellectual boost. I could just think so much faster, so much clearer while benefiting from a PTM, and I was more aware, my senses more acute. God, dude, you gotta fight that addiction, little Pip. You're gonna go down a bad path. If that's the party, if that's what the party time Mintals did for me, I began to wonder what they did for Pinkie Pie. She became a party animal. Found myself thinking about 4 stars again, based on what we had found in the mini-stable, which wasn't much after Steelhooves' ordnance was finished with the zebras. The Ministry of Morale raid must have happened the same morning that the Balefire bomb was set off. It occurred to me that the Megaspell was probably in transit when they attacked. The Ministry of Morale had brought in Steel Rangers. They knew they were heading into Called for the big guns, knowing where to look, though, to interrogate. Who to interrogate? Did that come from the skill of the ponies in her employ, or did Pinkie Pie herself discern these things with the power of PTM-enhanced acumen? Biased. I presumed the latter. No matter what negative effects she might have suffered from the PTM addiction, Pinkie Pie had an intuition that bordered on precognition. The traders were terrified of her ministry. She had them paranoid and scurrying, and no matter what any pony might say about either her or her ministry, Pinkie Pie had come heartbreakingly close to saving Manhattan. I stopped looking out over the desolate urban maze. Millions of people had died here, their salvation racing the clock and losing. I had to find myself something else to think about. I switched to DJ Pone 3's radio broadcast, listening to it in my earbloom. It was merely a distraction. I knew all the songs by heart now. I hope DJ Pone 3 found something in the records we carried, where they were expanding his musical repertoire. This just in, DJ Pone 3 announced, between songs, Just got a report that a weak distress signal can be heard near Horseshoe Tower. Seems like Blackwing's talents have managed to get themselves in over their beaks. Well, don't worry, Blackwing. Horseshoe Tower is pretty close to Sheriff Rottingtail's territory. Maybe if some of his ghouls will be willing to lend you a hoof. Oh wait, that's right. You and your merc slaughtered them all. Well, good luck with that. This is DJ Pone 3 reminding every pony in Equestria Wasteland. You reap what you sow. Oof, that hits deep. Calamity was flying back towards us. I turned off the radio on my pitbuck as he landed on the monorail. Y'all gonna love this. Several minutes later, we had trotted far enough along the curve to see what Calamity had told us about. Ahead, the celestial line crossed over the Luna line. About 20 feet above the Luna line, running perpendicular to the twin monorails below. The dark underside of the twin celestial rails struck me as bizarrely textured, giving me the creeps. Well, how do we get up here? Velvet Remedy scoffed. Calamity rolled his eyes and fluttered his wings. I carry y'all up as how, except I'm thinking our Steel Ranger friend is a mite heavy for me. I can levitate him up as you carry me, I offered. Calamity nodded. Alright then, just be careful, Lil Pip. You don't want to disturb the Bloodwings. Bloodwings? I floated out the binoculars, peering through them at Celestial Line, and cringed with the gas. The shadowed underbellies of the monorails were covered with grotesque, leathery forms of dozens of giant, mutated bats. Yup, I figure we best make good time to 10 Pony. Reckon we don't want to be outside in the open come nightfall. As difficult as it was to get into the Celestial Line, getting off the monorail was easy. Twilight was falling as we rounded a bend and were met with a graceful arch of tarnished silver which flowed up and over the monorails. Through the arch, we could finally see 10 Pony Tower in its surprisingly well-preserved splendor. We had been catching glimpses of it above and between the buildings for hours, but only now could we really take in the size and ornateness of the structure. Light glowed behind more than half of the windows, most of which bore fractures but were fully intact. The building narrowed every pony's stories with a level ringed by a patio balcony, the fencing around each spotted with a crude repair. Only one whole side of 10 Pony Tower was blackened and sagging, bulwarked by patchwork reinforcements added over post-apocalyptic decades. The original name of the building had collapsed into the cobblestone courtyard below. A huge radio broadcast tower rose from the roof towards the sky. The monorails passed under the archway, which would once have been dazzling in the sun, and right up to 10 Pony Tower, where they ran through a 4-stars embarking station built into the side of the tower, many stories above the ground. From the tarnished arch hung a sign proclaiming Ministry of Arcane Science, Manhattan Hub. Holy cow, this just got intense. Alright, let's see what Twilight was up to. I wonder if they're gonna find Twilight's corpse. Entering the station, we saw guard ponies barricaded behind massive... Oh, well, maybe we won't, actually. Entering the station, we saw guard ponies barricaded behind massive steel walls, watching our approach through narrow slits as they followed our progress with their guns. The walls of the station were decorated with life-size paintings of ponies. Once the paintings had been protected by fields of magical energy, similar to Velvet Remedy's spell. Now, most of the paintings had been protected by blackened, damaged, or defaced beyond repair, the shields having failed and the gemstones which held their enchantment stolen. All save for one, a painting of a familiar purple unicorn. The once pink and violet stripes in her mane mostly changed to gray. I hopped onto the sidewalk that ran along the wall, giving the paintings a closer look. The edges were charred and the paint had blistered in the heat, but the protective field still held. The others paused, watching me, but I waved them on. I just want to look. I'll catch up. Each of my companions nodded and trotted on, none of them seeming to possess my curiosity. While no spring filly... Twilight Sparkle looked at least a decade younger in this painting than in the memory of Pinkie Pie's last party, and considerably happier. She was surrounded by crisp autumn colors, a number of hazy, barely rendered ponies creating colorful blotches around her in the background. Her cutie mark was hidden, covered by a flank blanket bearing the number 10. The running of the leaves, a voice announced from behind me, startling me so badly I nearly jumped back to my death. I turned to glare at the sprite bot which had seemed to materialize out of nowhere. Twilight Sparkle ran it every year in Ponyville. Never won. To me, the mechanical voice sounded nostalgic. That was until the ministry demanded all of her time. Hello! Welcome to the party. I gazed at the purple pony with the 10 on her flank, then I looked up to mostly intact skyscraper which had once been a Ministry of Magic hub. The massive letters that had once advertised its name fallen and shouted on the ground below, and then looked back. Heh, I smiled, turning to the sprite bot. How did you know, Twy? But with a crack of static, Watcher was gone, the sprite bot suddenly spewing tuba music. I scowled as I watched the spherical robot bob away. Was it just me? Or were conversations with Watcher getting shorter? I think they're going further away from him. Ooh. Ponies don't simply walk into 10 Pony Tower, the guard pony informed us, scowling through an armored window as he spoke through the intercom. The words, "No zombies," were painted across the gate in huge red letters. "We have business with DJ Pone 3, Velvet Remedy stated loftily, although if you want to explain to him that you turned us away. DJ Pone 3 is expecting you then? Absolutely, Velvet Remedy lied silkily. And if I were you, I would not keep him waiting. All of you? The voice was skeptical. Velvet Remedy gave an overly dramatic sigh. This is my bodyguard, she claimed, pointing to Calamity, and I'm sure you recognize a member of the Steel Rangers. I do? And? Velvet looked to me and seemed to draw a blank. Hastily I offered Toaster Repair Pony. Every pony gave me a strange look. His, toaster's on the fritz. Velvet Remedy looked pained. The guard contemplated us. Why Toaster Repair Pony? Why can't you just say maintenance technician or something? Like, for real. Finally, Velvet Remedy said, look, as much as I'd love to just stand here outside while you get in trouble for not letting us in, it is getting dark. Would 100 bottle caps help move this along? 200. 125. And I don't tell DJ Pone3 that you tried to extort his guests. Fine. The gun slots open in the door. Slide the caps through, then you can come in. I started pulling out and counting the bottle caps. I was gonna have to start bundling them into small pouches of 20 to make this sort of thing easier. 200 was a large chunk of bottle caps we'd managed to acquire, but I wasn't worried. We had plenty of guns and ammo to sell once inside. Oh, the guard added, and you'll have to disarm before passing through the checkpoint. Stick a horn! Y'all ain't getting my battle saddle unless you pry it off of my cold dead, the guard scoffed. Wouldn't expect to. You don't have to turn in your firearms and battle saddles. Just your ammo. All of it. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Unexpected. That also severely cut out trade goods, but at least left us with the more expensive and heavier objects to sell off. As we passed through the checkpoint, a unicorn, yes, nope, no, I hate that actually, stepped out to the guard post and waved her horn over us. Every clip, bullet grenade and missile flashed, visible even through Steelhooves' metal armor. Toaster Repair Pony, she repeated with demure smile as her gaze passed over my sniper rifle. Combat shotgun, zebra rifle, SARC combine, I face-huffed. And a Steel Ranger? She asked as she removed the missiles from the left side of Steelhooves' battle saddle. What is your story? Steelhooves whinnied. I'm just here to make sure you don't have any more nasty ghoul problems. Oh, that is no longer a concern, she smiled. But thank you for your concern. Indeed, can't have a filthy ghoul just walking in anywhere. Calamity was shooting Steelhooves' dark looks. Velvet Remedy nickered under her breath, just loud enough to make sure she was heard. Oh yes, they're unsightly things. Can't imagine anything worse except maybe a cult killer. Oof. Yikes. Yikes. We don't talk about that. Calamity neighed and rolled his eyes, lowering the brim of his hat. I feel like this love triangle is starting to deteriorate again. In minutes, we were divested of all our ammunition. You will get all of this back when you leave, the unicorn promised primarily, as she collected it all and floated into the guardhouse. I feel strangely naked. Naked, Calamity complained. At least my weapons had only been reduced to fancy clubs. You can probably buy some rubber bullets from Chief Grimstar if you really feel you need to, the unicorn informed us as the guardhouse door slid shut behind her. Calamity and I exchanged surprised looks. It was the first I'd heard of any pony utilizing non-lethal ordnance. There was a loud clank as something released inside the ornate, armored double doors in front of us. They opened, swinging inwards and revealing the marbled, chandelier-lit station lobby of 10 Pony Tower. We were getting, honestly, what's that? I forget which George Romero movie it is. I think it's maybe Day of the Dead? Dawn of the Dead? Not the one with the mall. Not the mall one. The one with the skyscraper. The one where the zombies become smarter and crud. That neural reactivation crud. That one. Like, I'm getting, like, that city vibe from this. We were getting looks. The idea of high society was completely foreign to me. We had nothing like this sort of bizarre elitism in Stable 2. The wasteland was a dirty, broken, rusted place that was completely at odds with stuffy behavior. The only reason a pony might walk around with their nose in the air in places like New Appaloosa was because they didn't want to smell what they were walking in. Let us hurry and find a place to make bed, Velvet Remedy pushed. I need a bath. Hell, these folk are making me feel like I need a bath, Calamity said, his head low, feeling of the weight of all the stairs. You do. I nodded, wondering just how we would find a place to stay. We were walking across a mezzanine filled with high-class shops, or at least high-class relative to the rest of Equestrian Wasteland. If we wanted to buy or sell anything here, Velvet Remedy had her work cut out for her. I suspected that she was the only one with enough mercantile savior fare, I guess, to get these ponies to even talk to her. Velvet Remedies seemed to read my mind. Once we've bathed and rested, we should split up. I'll take out goods to sell first thing in the morning and then purchase us some new formal wear that will help us blend in. Little Pip, you should look into meeting with DJ Pone 3. I agreed. I want to find a workshop. I want to modify my battle saddle. Until traveling with Little Pip, I never had more than one type of ammo. Want to set up a quick way to swap between ammo types. Be nice to be able to use rubber bullets when the situation calls for it. He looked at Velvet and me. Y'all should give me your guns so I can do them some proper maintenance while I'm at it. Velvet Remedy floated her needler pistol over to him. Situations like shooting a colt, perhaps? Calamity neighed. Nope. I see a raider. I'm gonna take him down. The rust-colored pony stared definitely at Velvet Remedy, proudly insisting, It's my policy. It was a child, Velvet Remedy hissed, giving a stomp. Yeah, this love triangle between them all is literally over. Little Pip, get in there! I looked around, my companions were beginning to make a scene. Maybe we should save this for... Any pony who chooses to be filthy murdering raider gets tried and perforated as an adult, Calamity asserted. And you think a cult or filly in this situation had any actual choice? Calamity's eyes narrowed as he cocked his head. Well, maybe not. Damn tragedy. But that don't mean I'm gonna give him a free... yeah, murder until he gets his cutie mark. His would-be future victims don't deserve that. Calamity's voice was rising dangerously. In case you didn't notice, my... these sentences are getting vicious. My little mates. Shut up, I finally ordered. I swear to the goddesses, I'm gonna put you both in corners. Velvet Remedy and Calamity both bristled. But the interruption was enough to get them to look around and realize that there was not the place to be having that particular fight. The two of them remained silent for the rest of the evening while I found us a place at Golden Tail's Luxury Suites. It was a beautiful room with marble walls, only slightly cracked. The twin bathtubs were only lightly stained and the sheets on the beds were not too worn or frayed. I probably paid double what Velvet Remedy would have gotten it for, but I was happy just to get them away from the public. Uh-oh, this background ambient music got intense. For our situation, it's not very fitting. Tempers were more even the next morning. We had all bathed and washed our clothing. Calamity spent the first part of the morning sewing and patching our armor. My armored utility body had been crusted with blood and punctured with bullet holes. Meanwhile, Velvet Remedies packed up the weapons and scavenged items for trade and headed out before the stores were open, wanting to look over her options. I spent the morning hungry. We decided that we would wait until Velvet Remedy returned with proper 10-pony attire before heading out to buy food. There were several swanky-looking restaurants that we had passed on our way to Golden Tail's luxury suites, and I was sick of canned and boxed pre-war food, which, as Velvet reminded us, we were almost out of and would need to stock up on. I took the chance to relax, laying on one of the beds and reading. I nearly finished all of the books I had collected, and I had contemplated giving most of them to Velvet Remedy to sell, but in the end, I decided that I would rather keep them back at my Junction R7 home, start a library. When Velvet Remedy returned, bringing us all new clothing, even a stately cloak for steel hooves, I nearly fell out of the bed at the sight of her. She treated herself to a new coffer and ponypedia, and was wearing a classy new dress with matching new jewelry along with a demure touch of blush. She fluttered her longer than ever eyelashes at me, and I felt pain. Part of me hated her for making me want her so much. This is so sad. Wow, Velvet, you look... Calamity flushed, looking a little overheated, but he stammered something about hoping she'd have saved enough bottle caps for us to have breakfast. She turned up her nose at him. Of course I did. Looking to me, she broke into a gleeful grin, clobbing her hooves, and we have plenty extra to do a little shopping. What do they have? Velvet Remedy smirked, rolling her eyes. Oh, you wouldn't believe. These ponies have taken full of themselves to a whole new level, she snickered. 2 floors down, there is a shop that sells only cheese. Right across the shop that sells only wine. As classy as she could be, Velvet Remedy didn't put any more value in being snobbish than the rest of us. But of course, half the fun of shopping is just looking. Why was there something you were looking for? Some new books and rubber bullets, Velvet Remedy sighed. Honestly though, I ain't gonna argue if there's a cheese store and a wine store right across from each other. That sounds almost too good to be true. The restaurant was classy and filled with prim-looking ponies. I looked at my plate of food with a touch of depression. I don't know why I'd expected much more. It wasn't as if the ponies of 10 Pony Tower were farmers with fields of fresh grains. Instead, we got the same pre-war foods, only cooked in new ways and served in a tiny bit artistic portions. It didn't take long to eat, and I was still hungry. After breakfast, we split up. Calamity and Steel Hooves went to find Chief Grimstar, hoping to purchase bullets and possibly a suit of armored barding more suitable for Velvet Remedy. The Zebra Legionnaire suit was stored away in Steel Hooves' packs. Velvet Remedy didn't feel right wearing it, especially as she walked over the graves of countless ponies the zebras had murdered, and I didn't blame her. But I hated to just leave it or sell it when it could be useful. Velvet and I went to purchase supplies. Food was high priority, especially since I had no intention of eating at the restaurant again for as long as we were here. Looking at the rows of cans and boxes and fine edibles, I cringed at the prices. Maybe we should just get the minimum we need for the next couple of days. We're bound to find more if we do a bit of scavenging. Velvet Remedy agreed, but only because she had other intentions for the caps. We would save by doing so. We stocked up lightly, then I watched as Velvet Remedy haggled with the shop clerk until she got us a discount, and as soon as we left fine edibles, I found myself being shoved into a spa where Velvet Remedy absolutely insisted we both get full body treatments. Slay queen, get 'em girl, clean up girl. I was resistant at first, but as I began to unwind in the steam room, feeling muscles loosen that had probably been tight since the last night at the stable, I found myself letting out a grand sigh of relief. A couple of delightful spa ponies gave us an absolute heavenly massage. This was easily the best caps I had ever spent, and truth be told, the spa mare hoofing my back was beginning to really turn me. Yikes! Woo! Those classic spa ponies, dude, they really get to you. We love the spa ponies. They do their job well. I heard that Fluttershy went to one of these places every week with her great add a bunch of greats here, great auntie, Velvet Remedy confided as the lovely spa pony rubbed her hooves on her shoulders as something felt extra awkward. Later, as we lounged in a mud bath, my eye spotted a book sitting alone on a counter. Curious, I floated over to take a look. Principles of Proper Pony Speech, I read aloud. Refining how we think by refining how we speak. I opened the book and looked down to the title page. At the bottom, in small words, official guidelines from the Ministry of Image. Oh my god. Rarity? The Ministry of Image? I decided I'd ask the spa pony if I could buy the book. We were returning to our room after the most delightful morning I had probably ever, and my attention was focused on slipping my newly purchased book into my saddlebag. When I collided with a stallion who was backing out of a cheese shop, knocking him over, my book fell to the ground along with a number of boxes full of cheese. I recovered and began to offer him apologies and assistance when my eyes fell the cheese-shaped cutie mark on his beige flank. You? Monterey Jack stood up, dusting himself. Oh, it's you. Oh my god. He's the frickin'... Wait. This guy turned raider, right? This guy who turned hostage from raider, or he was a raider. Are you kidding me? A short gray unicorn wearing her fine full barding trotted out and looked at the scattered cheese, then at us. Is there a problem here? Yeah, this pony tried to rob me after I saved his life. Now I was the one creating a scene. I didn't care. Velvet Remedy was staring. Monterey Jack started picking up the boxes of cheese, lifting them with his teeth by their wrapping strings. He ignored me like I was a small yapping animal. Is that true? The gray unicorn asked, looking at Monterey Jack. Monterey just snorted and finished stacking the cheese boxes, then focused floating them towards the gray unicorn in the suit. Sorry about that, homage. I'll credit your account, 10% for the rough handling. Yes, it's true. I supplied for the beige unicorn. Of course, his cutie mark looked like cheese. Monterey Jack ran the cheese shop. A guard pony in old MAS security armor and an LSW battle saddle was trotting towards us. Turning towards him, I pointed at Monterey. Sir, I'd like this pony arrested. The guard pony looked at both of us up and down. On what charge? Attempted robbery? The guard chuckled. Monterey Jack's prices may be steep, but that's a stretch. I shook my head. No, I rescued him from raiders and he repaid me by trying to rob me. Turning glare on Monterey Jack, I added, they were going to shoot your hooves off if I remember correctly. Maybe I should have lit them. The guard looked at him skeptically. When was this? I paused and double-checked the date on my pit book. 3 weeks ago. Had it really been only that long? I felt like I'd been outside a lot longer. Sorry, the guard said finally, but it's your word against his. And frankly, seeing as you aren't a 10-pony citizen, your word doesn't mean much here. I fumed. You mean he gets away with it? Little Pip, Velvet Remedy said softly, putting a calming hoof on my shoulder. Put it in the past. He may have tried to rob you, but he didn't succeed. I shrugged off her hoof and rounded on Monterey Jack. So you're going to just stand there and deny it, are you? Well, No, he said firmly. I'm not going... Wait, what? Monterey Homage was looking at the beige cheese shop unicorn. Her purchase momentarily forgotten. The guard pony had suddenly stiffened. I have 2 colts and a filly to look after. I had to make it home safely, and those supplies would have been wasted on you. You weren't even smart enough to loot corpses. You wouldn't have survived the week. Clearly not, Velvet Remedy deadpanned. Monterey Jack, the guard said dangerously, do you realize what you are admitting here? Monterey Jack snorted, staring at me. I'm not a liar, and I am not ashamed of what I tried to do. Making sure my children still have a father is more important than some foolish little stranger who doesn't have a good sense. Not to walk into a slaver camp. He looked to the guard. After Clarinet was killed. I'm all they have left. The guard pony neighed. Well, probably anymore. Not anymore. You know the law. Banditry will get you executed. Wait, what? Velvet Remy gasped. The guard clamped the bit on his battle saddle, and I heard the light support weapon reload. Sorry, Monterey Jack, but you're gonna have to come with me. I've changed my mind. I'm not pressing charges. Nothing happened. The guard scowled at me. Sorry, kid, but it's your word against his. And like I said, your non-citizen word doesn't mean the dirt on my hoof around. Holy cow! That is super freaking intense. That went from a 0 to a 10 real quickly. I paced, dude, this guy's gonna get freaking killed now just because he opened his mouth. I paced back and forth outside the elevator. This was insane. They can't kill a pony for trying and failing to rob some pony, could they? Goddesses, why didn't I just keep my stupid mouth shut? The elevator doors opened. I left Velvet Remedy looking into the laws of 10 Pony Tower, hoping she could find something while I attempted to talk to DJ Pone 3. Stepping into the elevator, I added this to the list of things I wanted to ask him about. For that matter, why couldn't Monterey Jack have just kept his own mouth shut? An equestrian wasteland, honestly, was not always a virtue. The elevator began to glide upwards. I took a deep breath. I was about to meet DJ Pone 3. I wondered what to expect. I hoped he'd be willing to talk with me. If not, this would have been a long walk for nothing. Well, no, not nothing. It was a long walk for a spa treatment. Actually, still somewhat worth it. The doors opened and I stepped out into the rich marble foyer, the center of which was dominated by a water fountain. A huge alicorn made of age-darkened brass reared up before me, wings spread out over the foyer. The necklace around the alicorn's neck bore a water talisman, with a large sapphire sat in the center. Thanks to the talisman, the fountain still flowed with a fresh, clean water. Even 200 years after the apocalypse, I remember the pure, non-irradiated water we had enjoyed in our baths and in the spa, and I wondered just how many water talismans the MAS hub had, and how many could benefit from them if they weren't all hoarded together in this one place. Stairs wrapped around the foyer to a mezzanine level. Inserted in the balcony were matching bronze letters, Ministry of Arcane Science, Manhattan. Beyond the fountain was a large set of double doors bearing the title Twilight Sparkle, Athenium. Athenium? Above one of the mezzanine was a second, nearly identical set of double doors. MAS Emergency Broadcast Station, authorized unicorns only. I took a deep breath and stepped towards the stairs. A second pair of elevator doors slid open behind me. I turned to see the gray unicorn mare. Homage, step out and look around. I smiled, trying to not to look nervous. You're here to see DJ Pone 3 too? The other unicorn nodded. She was about my size. The only other adult pony I'd seen who was born with a similar small frame. I waved a hoof for her to go first. She was a citizen, after all. When we reached the landing, the double doors to MAS-ZBS swung open quietly, making me think of the wild tale of Manhattan. Ghosts, the traveling merchant had told us. Inside were multiple mainframes and walls of computer screens, giving a bird's-eye view of the vast majority of the equestrian wasteland. As far as I could tell, Homage clopped past me as I stopped to stare. Searching about, I spotted a new Appaloosa on one of them. Impressive, isn't it? Homage asked. I nodded, noticing that while most screens had clear, sharp images, several flickered and suffered odd distortions, and one large set of screens was dead black. You've been in here before? Oh, a few times. She walked over to a bank of buttons and lights. Raising a hoof to press one, she turned and trotted back towards the center of the room where a microphone was raising from the floor. Homage's horn glowed and her voice changed by magic. Good morning, Wastelanders, Homage cried into the mic, her voice now male and very familiar. How is every pony doing? This is your pal, DJ Pone 3, and well, it's that time again. That's right, time for some news. I fell to my haunches staring at this little gray unicorn's voice belted over the airwaves. I hear rumor that Monterey Jack, cheese shop owner, up in that oh-so-hoity-toity 10-pony tower, has been arrested for deciding that being a thieving jackass is the appropriate response to an act of kindness. Remember what I keep telling you, my little ponies. Treat each other with kindness and respect, or don't, and watch it come back to bite you in the tail. In other news, some ponies finally arrived to fix my toaster. Hallelujah! it's breakfast time. Here's a little Sapphire Shores to get you through the morning. I absolutely freaking love the news channel characters in this. That is so fun. I would love to do something for that. I would love to be the radio guy. That would be awesome. Especially when they sound this freaking fun. 10 minutes later, I stood at the windswept roof of Ten Pony Tower as Homage made a refining adjustment to the gemstone, sitting in the center of one of the dishes on the broadcast tower. I stared out over the gray labyrinth the main had. From here, I could see another Ministry Hub building which was considerably worse for wear. Horseshoe Tower, and even the Pony of Friendship out in the harbor. Breathtaking blue ocean stretched out until the waters vanished under offshore fog. Ironic, isn't it? Homage asked, her voice no longer that of DJ Pone 3. I'm told that a statue was a gift from zebra folk generations before the war. I turned to look at her but caught the sight of something far off on the horizon that grabbed my attention. A needle-like white tower rose all the way into the clouds. I blinked, realizing that I'd seen it before, but not over there. Before when I'd spotted it in the distance, it was... I turned to look out in the direction I knew the tower should have been, and saw there were two of them. I pulled out my binoculars and slowly turned, scanning the horizon. Far off, protruding from the mountains near Old Appaloosa, I thought I spotted a third. How many of those towers were there? I see you've spotted them, Homage said casually. I lowered the binoculars. What are they? No idea, Homage admitted. Something pre-war and really sophisticated. What I do know is that each one has a station house at the base and observation eyes about a third of the way up. DJ Pone 3 managed to hack into one of them. Between those eyes and reports from loyal listeners, every DJ Pone 3 sense had been able to keep ponies informed about dangers, uplifted by the tales of heroes and generally appraised of what goes on in the wasteland, and give them beautiful music to help make life out there more bearable. That's all I can do to help everyone, but I figure the most I can do is the least I can do. I looked to Homage with amazement, bordering on reverence. You, on the other hand, it seems can do a lot more, and so I'd like to help you. Footnote, level up. New perk, how we do it. Down on the farm. In combat, your critical hits are more devastating. Your damage from critical hits, including sneak attack criticals, is increased by 50%. This does not affect the chance to cause a critical hit. Oh my goodness, that was a interesting chapter. My little RP. That was horrible. That was a bad sentence. I hated everything about that first little half. Not everything, alright? Just that specific segment. Y'all know the ones I'm talking about. Y'all know the ones I talked about. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. I love this story. No matter how violent it gets. 16 towers, let's see. 16, 17. Next chapter is The Villain of the Piece. That'll be an interesting. This chapter will be 17,000 words. Which is also, by the way, going to be a new record for longest chapter we have read so far. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. We'll see how that goes. So anyways, folks, thank you all so much for watching Fallout Equestria Part whatever. And I will see you folks in the next one.